Chapter 1657. The gnome had a bloodline crystal that contained powerful gnome power. It was very important to him and could increase his power, so he definitely would not be willing to give it to Zhao Fu. "I don't have any treasures. You found the wrong person," the gnome lied as he turned around and called out. However, Zhao Fu did not believe him. Seeing that the gnome was not simple, he definitely had a powerful gnome treasure, so he said, "Is that so? Then don't run, and let me examine it. If there's nothing, I'll let you go." How could the gnome agree to such a request? He could only sit in the ship and continue to fly. Zhao Fu chased after him, and as the ship slowed down, the distance between Zhao Fu and the gnome decreased, and Zhao Fu tried to attack. The golden pupil in his left eye quickly spun, and chains shot out from the air towards the gnome. The gnome controlled the ship and agilely dodged as he continued to run. However, more and more cracks appeared on the ship, and with a bang, it shattered into countless pieces and fell to the ground. The gnome started to panic. The ship was his greatest trump card, and now that it had been destroyed, he would not be able to outrun Zhao Fu. At that moment, chains containing immense power once again shot out. The gnome held a scimitar and blocked as he continued to fly forwards. Zhao Fu continuously attacked, and the distance between the two of them continued to decrease. In the end, the gnome could not win, and he understood that if this went on, he would be caught by Zhao Fu sooner or later. As such, he yelled, "I can give you the treasure, but you have to let me go." Hearing this, Zhao Fu immediately agreed because he only wanted the gnome treasure and was not interested in the gnome or points. The gnome threw the bloodline crystal to the side and flew in another direction. Zhao Fu grabbed at the air behind him, and a formless energy grabbed the crystal and brought it in front of Zhao Fu. After examining the bloodline crystal's power, Zhao Fu gave a satisfied smile. When the dwarf saw that Zhao Fu wasn't chasing after him, he heaved a sigh of relief and flew to the other side. After Zhao Fu obtained the blood crystal, he did not plan to go back because he still needed to travel for 3 days. As such, he decided to temporarily separate from the women and deal with their matters later. Moreover, they would head to the center of the secret realm, so they could go there when the time came. Zhao Fu found a place to refine the blood crystal, but he found that it was a city of giants. The giants here were not very tall, only about 5 meters tall. They were quite short for giants, as giants were usually 4 or 5 meters tall. Zhao Fu found that the giants were not very tall, only around 5 meters tall. Zhao Fu thought for a moment before deciding to refine the blood crystal later. He should first see what he could gain from the giant city. After coming to the giant city, Zhao Fu found that it was quite lively. There seemed to be some sort of event going on, and the giants sat at tables and seemed to be arm wrestling. There were also people watching and cheering excitedly. Zhao Fu's arrival attracted the gazes of many giants, but they were quite surprised. Looking at Zhao Fu's short body and harmony realm cultivation, they did not pay him much attention. Seeing so many giants come, Zhao Fu did not show any ill intent and asked a giant next to him, "What is your city doing?" The giant happily smiled as he replied, "This is our giant arm wrestling competition to pick out our city's strongest person. Not only will you receive great rewards, but you might also receive the attention of our city lord's daughter." Hearing this, Zhao Fu asked, "What are the rewards?" The giant pointed at the blood-red orb on the stage and said, "That's the reward, the giant power crystal. If you refine it, you'll be able to obtain powerful giant power." Hearing this, a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he said, "Are there any restrictions on whether or not I can participate?" Hearing Zhao Fu's words, the giant could not help but laugh as he said, "There aren't any restrictions. You can participate. In actuality, our city lord welcomes people like you who participate in the trial and treats all of you well. However, with your physique and cultivation, you'll be crushed." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt at ease. All of the giants here were quite powerful, and most of them had great earth realm cultivation. There were also some who had world realm cultivation. As such, Zhao Fu did not plan on directly snatching it, and would rely on his own strength to participate. A while later, Zhao Fu signed up and went up. His first opponent was an ordinary-looking giant with great earth realm cultivation. The two of them each stretched out a hand. Because of their sizes, Zhao Fu's hand was half the size of the giant's hand. So the giant directly grabbed Zhao Fu's wrist and placed his elbow on the table and started to compare strength. All the giants looked down on Zhao Fu because to them, Zhao Fu was like a bean sprout. His small arm could be easily broken, and they did not believe that he could win. The ordinary-looking young man who was competing with Zhao Fu felt quite delighted to have met such a weak opponent. Hearing that the competition had begun, the young man grabbed Zhao Fu's wrist and pressed it to the side. However, the young man looked quite confused because he was unable to move Zhao Fu at all. Zhao Fu's arm seemed to be made of steel, and Zhao Fu did not pay too much attention to this ordinary-looking young man. He lightly pressed down, causing the young man's hand to heavily slam the table. Unsurprisingly, Zhao Fu won this competition, and the giants looked quite shocked. It seemed that this bean sprout was not simple at all and had some strength. On the viewing platform, there was a beautiful middle-aged woman with long, black hair and a mature figure. She wore leather armor and gave off a seductive aura as she looked at Zhao Fu and gave a trace of a smile. She was the city lord. There were two other seats next to her. One was a handsome-looking middle-aged man, who was the beautiful woman's husband. The other was a woman with long, black hair and a slim figure. She gave off a faint and pure aura, and she was the city lord's daughter. After defeating the ordinary-looking young man, Zhao Fu quickly found another opponent. As expected, Zhao Fu pressed down with his hand and easily pressed the giant's arm against the table, obtaining victory. The giants' expressions became more and more shocked as they realized that Zhao Fu was quite powerful. After a few more matches, Zhao Fu easily defeated his opponent and entered the finals. The giants looked quite surprised. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would enter the finals. However, they felt that this was quite encouraging, as it was a miracle for a skinny and weak person like Zhao Fu to enter the finals. The giants felt quite interested and curious about Zhao Fu. "Daughter, what do you think of him? What do you think of him?" The beautiful woman in the stands asked her daughter with a smile. Chapter 1658. The beautiful woman had always wanted to send her daughter out of the secret realm so that she could live a normal life. She would not have to worry about being destroyed by others, or if something happened to the secret realm where they could die. However, the beautiful woman did not have that ability. Even the most powerful creatures in the secret realm could not break through the secret realm. So if she wanted to send her daughter out, she could only rely on the trial takers. The woman next to her looked a bit shy as she said, "I feel that it's possible. He's very powerful, and his identity might not be simple, but will he take a liking to me? Also, I don't know what he looks like." Seeing that her daughter was interested in Zhao Fu, the beautiful woman smiled. She did not want her daughter to marry someone she did not like, so she made her decision. The man next to her smiled as he said, "Since my daughter is interested in him, let's wait for the competition to end and see what his character is like. If he's a cruel and evil person, we can't marry our daughter to him." The beautiful woman smiled as she replied, "I understand. I'll personally test him." On the stage, Zhao Fu had already entered the finals. His opponent was a peak Great Earth Realm giant who looked quite ferocious. However, he was unable to pose a threat to Zhao Fu at all and was easily defeated by Zhao Fu. The giants' bodies were stronger than ordinary people's, and they were comparable to some devil beasts. They had lost to Zhao Fu mainly because their cultivations were not high enough. If they had world realm cultivation, Zhao Fu would not have been able to defeat them so easily. The giants all cried out, feeling quite surprised that someone like Zhao Fu, who had only joined halfway and only had harmony realm cultivation, had been able to sweep through everyone and become number one. The giants smiled and started to bring out all sorts of food and wine. Some people sat at tables and started to eat, while others danced to celebrate the end of the competition. Zhao Fu was not too interested in participating, and he planned to leave after obtaining the giant power crystal and refine the halfling blood crystal. At that moment, Zhao Fu heard that the city lord had summoned him, and Zhao Fu immediately agreed. After all, The giant power crystal was in her hands, and he had to go there to obtain it. As such, he followed a guard to a large hall. The beautiful woman sat on a chair and gave a trace of a smile as she said, "I can give you the giant power crystal and some other precious things, but you need to tell me about yourself." Zhao Fu felt quite surprised and looked at the beautiful woman with interest as he asked, "What do you want to know?" The beautiful woman smiled and said, "It's about your personal experiences." Zhao Fu chuckled. "Aren't you afraid that I'll make up some lies to deceive you? Also, I only need the giant crystal. I don't need anything else." The beautiful woman felt quite startled and had never thought that Zhao Fu would reply like this. However, she felt quite impressed with Zhao Fu as she said, "I'll judge what you say for myself. In actuality, I won't hide it from you. I want to marry my daughter to you." Zhao Fu thought about the beautiful woman's daughter's looks and did not refuse, saying, "That's not a problem. You wanted to take your daughter out of the secret realm and take good care of her, right? I can do that, but I have a condition." The beautiful woman felt quite delighted and smiled as she replied, "As long as you promise to treat my daughter well in the future, I'll do my best to agree to your request." Zhao Fu gave a profound smile as he looked at the beautiful woman and walked over as he asked, "Is that so?" Seeing Zhao Fu walk over, facing Zhao Fu's gaze, a trace of redness appeared on the beautiful woman's face. She understood Zhao Fu's request and shook her head as she said, "Ask for something else. I can't agree to this. Also, if you're like this, I don't plan on marrying my daughter to you. You're quite a playboy and have other thoughts about me." Zhao Fu smiled as he replied, "However, I'm someone who keeps his promises. If you marry your daughter to me, I definitely won't let her down and will give her a life that's hundreds of times better than what she is now." Hearing this, the beautiful woman started to hesitate. Just from those few words, she had gained some understanding of Zhao Fu and trusted that Zhao Fu would keep his promises. However, how could she agree to Zhao Fu's request? Suddenly, Zhao Fu stepped forwards and pulled the beautiful woman into his embrace, and he kissed her on the lips. The beautiful woman felt as if her head had exploded and her mind went blank. She then felt countless auras flow into her body, and she passionately responded to Zhao Fu. The two of them quickly started to intensely do it, and the beautiful woman's expression was incredibly lewd as she continuously asked for more from Zhao Fu. Because the sound was too loud, Zhao Fu released a barrier to block out the sound. The beautiful woman's daughter felt quite confused as to why her mother had not responded for so long. She wondered how the person she was testing was doing, and, thinking about how that person was going to become her husband, her face became slightly red. She had never seen Zhao Fu before and did not know what kind of person Zhao Fu was. However, from the competition, she could tell that the beautiful woman's daughter had a good impression of Zhao Fu. After waiting for a while, the beautiful woman's daughter still did not receive a reply. She could not help but come to the entrance of the hall, wanting to eavesdrop on the conversation between her mother and that person. However, there was no sound at all. Could it be that they had gone to a banquet? The daughter felt quite confused and pushed open the door to the hall. She saw her mother and that person intensely doing it with a lewd expression and lewd sounds. Was this really her mother? How had she become like this? Wasn't she in love with her father? The woman's mind went blank. She had never thought that her future husband would be with her mother first. Was this the so-called test? The scene in front of her stimulated her brain. Only after a while did the woman come back to her senses. She tried to turn around, but she was pulled in front of Zhao Fu by a wave of energy, and she could not help but become like her mother. On the stage in front of the hall, the banquet was going on enthusiastically. Many giants were drinking wine and eating meat, and there were also giant women dancing. Their laughter and excited voices continuously sounded out. The giants toasted the beautiful woman's husband and had him invite the city lord and the young miss to the banquet together. The beautiful woman's husband felt slightly drunk as he came to the hall and knocked on the door as he said, "Wife, it's quite lively outside." However, there was no sound from within, and the beautiful woman's husband felt quite confused. He knocked on the door and said a few words, but there was still no response. Hearing his voice, The beautiful woman and the young girl became even more excited and passionate, and they fell into a state of indescribable passion with Zhao Fu. The beautiful woman's husband frowned and felt quite confused. His wife had been in the hall the entire time and had not come out, so why was she ignoring him? Chapter 1659. What an animal! He's simply inhumane. Now, countless people were paying attention to Zhao Fu. Seeing that he had slept with two princesses and was now playing with a mother and daughter, and it was someone else's wife whose husband was at the banquet, everyone could not help but curse. However, everyone understood Zhao Fu. Such a perverted bandit would feel terrible if he did not have a woman, and he would definitely go around harming women. Seeing how this perverted bandit was acting, everyone felt that they could not accept it. However, no one would punish him and make him get his just desserts. A few hours later, Zhao Fu hugged the mother and daughter and gave a satisfied smile. The two women were 5 meters tall, much taller than Zhao Fu. Their figures were also better than ordinary women's, so it was quite a special experience. You really are a bad person. I want to marry my daughter to you, but you played with me and my daughter. I already have a husband, but you're still like this. The beautiful woman lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and angrily looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu gave a trace of an evil smile as he said, "Is he as good as me? Did you experience that sort of extreme pleasure just then?" The beautiful woman's face became bright red as she panted in Zhao Fu's embrace. Thinking about the madness from just then, she could not say anything. The woman next to her said shyly, "I've decided to follow husband, and my body belongs to husband. Mother, can we serve husband together in the future?" The beautiful woman looked slightly sad and felt that she had let down her husband. Just then, she had heard her husband's voice and had been so excited to do it with another man. Now, she felt that she could not leave that bastard Zhao Fu, so she did not know how to reply. At that moment, Zhao Fu said somewhat domineeringly, "I'll take the two of you away later. Also, you can give me the giant crystal now." The beautiful woman could not refuse and could only shyly nod and give the giant crystal to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu had the two women get up and started to refine the two crystals. The first was a white pygmy bloodline crystal, and Zhao Fu injected some energy into it to activate it. The bloodline crystal gave off an intense white light and a powerful aura, and a faint midget image appeared. Seeing Zhao Fu, the image wanted to run, but it was bound by Zhao Fu's power. He stretched out his hand and ignited a black flame, igniting the midget. The midget struggled in pain and turned into a ball of white light. Zhao Fu controlled the orb of white light to enter Zhao Fu's body, and a powerful gnome power spread out. Zhao Fu quickly absorbed this power, and a white gnome totem appeared on Zhao Fu's back. Next was the giant crystal, and Zhao Fu activated it. The giant crystal gave off an intense blood-red light and slowly fused into Zhao Fu's body. The giant crystal continuously melted within Zhao Fu's body and turned into powerful energy that flowed into Zhao Fu's body, causing Zhao Fu's body to go through changes. However, the effects were quite weak, and Zhao Fu's body gave off a blood-red light. In the end, the blood-red crystal completely melted, and Zhao Fu's back gave off a blood-red light as a giant totem appeared on his back. Zhao Fu obtained another 2 totems, and adding on the totems from before, he now only had 2 totems left, bringing him to 34 totems. Soon, it was morning, and the mother and daughter had left. The beautiful woman was called Zhu Dongmei, and her daughter was called Zhu Hanqing. A while later, Zhu Hanqing shyly came in and said, "Husband, we've prepared breakfast for you. We have prepared breakfast for you. Come out and eat with us." Zhao Fu put on some clothes and did not hide anything. He hugged her and came to a living room. The beautiful woman and her husband were already seated, and there was a sumptuous breakfast on the table. The husband had gotten drunk last night and immediately fell asleep after returning to his room. He did not notice that his wife had not been by his side for the entire night. Seeing his daughter and the young man's sweet expressions, the husband felt quite pleased. It seemed that the marriage between his daughter and the young man had been settled, and since his daughter liked the young man so much, she would be very happy in the future. There was nothing for him to worry about. Seeing Zhao Fu, Zhu Dongmei's face became slightly red, and she felt quite envious of her daughter being hugged by Zhao Fu. At the dining table, the mother and daughter continuously added food to Zhao Fu's plate and described the taste. The two women's faces were slightly red, and their eyes were filled with tears, creating an ambiguous atmosphere. The husband sensed this and said with some jealousy, "Wife, you've never treated me so well before. I'm quite envious of my son-in-law." Zhu Dongmei rolled her eyes at her husband and added a piece of meat to his plate as she smiled and said, "He's my son-in-law, and my daughter will have to rely on him in the future. I naturally have to treat him well." The husband felt a bit better and shook his head as he gave a self-mocking smile and said, "How could I be jealous of my son-in-law? In a few days, he'll take my daughter and leave. What is there for me to worry about?" After breakfast, the husband left. The mother and daughter did not hide anything and gave moving smiles as they sat on Zhao Fu's body and started to feed Zhao Fu. After Zhao Fu was full, he started to do it with the mother and daughter. Afterwards, Zhao Fu said to Zhu Dongmei, "You're very familiar with this region. Do you know where there are historical remnants? Also, I need to find two races. One is the cat race, and the other is the rabbit race." Zhu Dongmei lightly laughed as she replied, "There were a few historical remnants in the past, but they were all explored long ago, so there shouldn't be any gains. However, I know where the cat race and rabbit race are." Zhao Fu felt quite delighted because there were only the cat race and rabbit race totems left. He smiled and asked, "Where are they? Hurry up and tell me." Zhu Dongmei smiled and told Zhao Fu about the two places. Following this, Zhao Fu got up and planned to go to those two places. This made the mother and daughter feel quite displeased, saying, "Husband, what are you in such a hurry for? Why are you in such a hurry? Can't you accompany us first?" Hearing their words, Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "You two should hurry up and recover your strength. When I come back, I'll take care of you. Also, you should hurry up and prepare. After I come back, I'll take you away." The mother and daughter's faces became red, and they lightly nodded. Zhao Fu put on some clothes and turned into a ray of light as he flew towards the horizon. The location that Zhu Dongmei had given it was a bit far from the giant city. Moreover, the two of them had their own cities, which were slightly weaker than the giant city. The two of them did not have much contact, so Zhao Fu did not have complete information about the two cities. Right now, Zhao Fu was heading towards the closest cat race city. The cat race city was within a mountain forest, and Zhao Fu arrived there in a few hours. However, before he could get close to the city, he saw a man and woman sneakily enter a forest. Chapter 1660. The relationship between the man and woman was most likely not normal, or else they would not sneak into such a secluded forest. The man was a young man who was handsome and tall, and many women liked him. The woman was a beautiful middle-aged woman with a mature figure. She gave off an alluring aura that could make people's hearts beat faster. After entering the forest, the two of them did not say anything and tightly hugged each other and impatiently kissed, looking incredibly thirsty. "Second mother, I miss you so much," the cat race young man said. The beautiful middle-aged woman replied passionately, "Second mother missed you too. Hurry up and do it with second mother and let second mother experience how powerful you are." Following this, the two of them got to the main topic. However, the beautiful middle-aged woman, who had her eyes closed, felt the young man let go of her, and before she could react, the young man started to kiss her again. There was a formless magic about him, and she quickly sank into it. Soon, the two of them became indescribable. The beautiful middle-aged woman's reaction was incredibly intense. She had never experienced such pleasure before, and she felt quite confused. She had never felt like this with the young man before. So why did the young man seem so extraordinary today? Moreover, the thing that was doing it with her was different from the young man's. The beautiful middle-aged woman could not help but turn and look, and she found that it was an unfamiliar handsome young man doing it with her. The cat race young man's expression was wooden as he stood by the side like a statue. The beautiful middle-aged woman's mind went blank. She had been done by another man, but that feeling of extreme pleasure caused her to sink into it. Zhao Fu disliked this kind of person the most. He had dared to do it in front of him. He used the evil spirit abyss flower's power to control the young man and take his place in doing it with the beautiful middle-aged woman. A few hours later, the sun was about to set, and the orange light of the setting sun dyed the ground orange. The sunlight was warm and gentle. The beautiful middle-aged woman lay limply on the ground and did not have any strength at all. Zhao Fu hugged her and started to ask about the situation. The beautiful woman had a look of infatuation as she lay in Zhao Fu's embrace, as if she had already fallen deeply in love with Zhao Fu. Facing Zhao Fu's question, she did not hide anything and truthfully answered Zhao Fu's question. The first thing that Zhao Fu cared about the most was whether there was a powerful races item. The beautiful woman told Zhao Fu that there was an ancestor's corpse that was enshrined in the city's ancestral hall, and it had immense cat race power. Following this, Zhao Fu asked about Cat Person City's strength and obtained accurate information. The city lord had world realm strength, and he had 3 generals who also had world realm cultivation and a large army. If he were to charge into the city and snatch the ancestor's corpse, it would be a little difficult. However, after hearing about the beautiful middle-aged woman and the young man's identities, Zhao Fu could not help but smile. This matter was much easier to resolve. The young man was the young lord of Cat Person City, and the beautiful middle-aged woman was the city lord's second madam. The city lord was quite old, and because of this, the city lord was unable to satisfy the beautiful middle-aged woman. The young man had long since taken a liking to her, and the two of them had been together for a few months now. The young man would soon inherit the position of city lord, and after his father died, he would be able to have the beautiful middle-aged woman. This was his promise to the beautiful middle-aged woman. The young man also had a biological mother, who was the city lord's main wife. She held great power, and her status was only below that of the city lord. Now that the city lord was old and could no longer deal with internal affairs, most of them were handled by the main wife. If she used the young man as a threat, she would be able to easily obtain the ancestor's corpse. Zhao Fu thought about it and sent a message to the Cat Person City. He told her about the relationship between the young man and the second madam, making it so that she did not dare to speak out. A voluptuous and beautiful middle-aged woman with a pair of golden cat ears and a cat tail, giving off an ancient aura, came here with a cold expression. Even though she had heard some rumors, she had never thought that her son would actually do such a thing and be captured. After coming to where she had been, she saw her son standing there with a wooden expression. There was also a handsome young man who gave a trace of an evil smile as he looked at her. He was not wearing any clothes. Her husband's second wife, who was her good friend, was squatting on the ground and lewdly serving that person. Looking at the beautiful middle-aged woman, Zhao Fu lightly laughed and said, "Come and serve me. I'll guarantee your son's safety. No one else will know about this, and I'll take care of any problems for you." The beautiful middle-aged woman thought for a while and looked at her son with a cold expression. She squatted under Zhao Fu and served Zhao Fu with her husband's second wife. Within the forest, the two women's lewd cries sounded out for a long time. The next day, the young man returned to the city with a confused look on his face. He did not know what had happened, and he had instantly lost consciousness. His second madam, who had been with him, had also disappeared. Apart from this, his biological mother had also disappeared, and an ancestor's corpse had been following her the entire time. The people in the Cat Person City did not know what had happened, and they could not think of the reason. The city lord sent people to search, but they could not find anything, and a cloud of suspicion covered the Cat Person City. Zhao Fu hugged the two women and came close to the Cat Person City. The Cat Person City was on a grassy plain and was surrounded by lush weeds. Zhao Fu found out the names of the two beautiful women. The noble-looking woman was called Mao Sigu, and the beautiful woman was called Mao Shaoling. This Cat Person City was quite close to the Cat Person City, and Zhao Fu said to Mao Sigu, the young man's biological mother, Do you know what to tell me about the cat person city? Tell me everything. After being ravaged by Zhao Fu for an entire night, Mao Sigu's expression became much gentler, and she gave off an enchanting aura as she said, "In actuality, there's nothing special about it. It's just a bit weaker than the cat person city, and it also has a powerful ancestor's corpse." Hearing about the ancestor's corpse, Zhao Fu lightly laughed. If he could obtain that ancestor's corpse and refine both of them, he would be able to collect 34 great races totems, and this matter would come to a perfect conclusion. Now, the most important thing was how to obtain that ancestor's corpse. "Husband, my body is quite sticky. I want to wash up," Mao Shaoling said as she frowned. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and agreed. After going at it for an entire night, he felt a bit uncomfortable. After washing up, he would obtain information about the cat person city and come up with a plan to obtain the ancestor's corpse. Chapter 1661. These rabbit people had a pair of long rabbit ears and a small rabbit tail. Apart from that, they looked exactly the same as humans. Of the 4 rabbit people, one had a graceful figure and a gentle appearance. One had a mature figure and gave off a steady aura. One had a slim figure and looked quite lively, and one had a fiery figure and gave off a trace of savagery. Seeing Zhao Fu, they cried out and covered their important parts. It would not be good for them to return to the shore, so they could only stay in the water and angrily look at Zhao Fu. The rabbit person with the fiery figure and savagery angrily cried out, "Who are you? Not only have you come here, but you're also brazenly watching us bathe. Be careful that I don't dig out your eyes." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and grabbed out with his hand, causing chains containing immense power to shoot out from the air towards the 4 women. The 4 women felt quite startled and tried to block, but in the end, they were still bound up by Zhao Fu and dragged in front of Zhao Fu. The 4 women's faces became red. They did not have any clothes on, and their bodies were completely exposed to this unfamiliar man. The savagery rabbit person angrily cried out, "Hurry and let go of me, or else you're dead." Zhao Fu did not mind and directly brought the savagery rabbit person into his embrace and started to do it with her. He also brought the other 3 women into his embrace and did it with them. Seeing Zhao Fu and the others start to intensely do it, Mao Shaoling licked her lips and went into the water to wash herself, planning to join in as soon as possible. Mao Sigu sighed. How could she have fallen for such a man? It would be great if she could have him for herself. Seeing him do it with so many women, Mao Sigu felt quite uncomfortable. However, Mao Sigu thought about it. With Zhao Fu's personality, he definitely had countless women, and she was just one of them. It was best for her to be obedient and not hope to change him or obtain his heart. Mao Sigu also went into the lake, and after washing herself, she joined in and immersed herself in pleasure with the other women. There was a white woman lying on the shore, and Zhao Fu hugged the rabbit person woman as he smiled and said, "Tell me about your rabbit people's city." Now, Zhao Fu also knew the names of the 4. The barbaric woman was called Tu Hua. The gentle woman was called Tu Yaya. The steady woman was called Tu Zi, and the lively woman was called Tu Lon Lon. Tu Hua glared at Zhao Fu. "You've already violated us, yet you're still plotting against our city? I'm not telling you." Zhao Fu looked at her and said with a chuckle, "Then I don't intend to take you with me." Tu Hua shouted angrily, "How dare you? You already have my body, yet you still refuse to take responsibility. I will hate you for the rest of my life." The steady rabbit purple lightly laughed and said, "Let's tell husband. Even if he doesn't find out from us, he'll find out from others, so it's better to help husband. Also, husband, you can't hurt the people of Rabbit City." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded, and he obtained the information he wanted. He obtained detailed information about the rabbit person city, the location of the ancestral hall, and the identities of the 4 women. Their identities were quite prestigious in the rabbit person city, and they were daughters of major figures. Zhao Fu could have them work together to steal the ancestor's corpse and try not to fight. The ancestor's corpse was the last thing that could be given a totem, and Zhao Fu had to obtain it no matter what. Late at night, a bright moon lit up the night sky, and Zhao Fu started to act. Because he had obtained detailed information, he knew the patrol times and precise locations, so he was able to easily sneak in and come near the ancestral hall. There were many soldiers standing guard here, numbering over 1,000. The ancestors' corpses were quite important to them, so the guards were quite strict to prevent anyone from stealing the ancestors' corpses. Even though there were over 1,000 soldiers standing guard everywhere, this was not a problem for Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu had a way to deal with this. Zhao Fu appeared in a hidden location and squatted down with one hand pressed against the ground. A wave of black, demonic chi flowed into the ground, and a black, rose-like magic formation appeared, giving off a faint black light. Zhao Fu's eyes became two rose-like pupils. Zhao Fu looked at the soldiers guarding the ancestral hall, and traces of black aura quickly shot out. They flowed through the ground and into the soldiers' bodies. The soldiers' bodies trembled and their expressions became terrified. Their eyes gradually became black before the black color gradually faded, and the soldiers' expressions returned to normal. Zhao Fu gave a trace of smile as he openly walked out and walked towards the ancestral hall. He entered and saw the ancestor's corpse on the stage. This ancestor's corpse was an incredibly old rabbit person. He had white hair and was covered with wrinkles. He was quite skinny, and his rabbit ears drooped weakly. He looked quite terrifying and terrifying. Zhao Fu examined the ancestor's corpse, and after confirming that there was nothing out of the ordinary, he waved his hand and put the ancestor's corpse into his spatial ring. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu activated the ancestral hall's restrictions, causing a gray light to shoot into the sky. All of the people in the Rabbit People City were given a big fright and quickly hurried over. Zhao Fu did not panic because he knew that the restrictions would be activated if he took out the ancestor's corpse. He did not hesitate and exploded out with all of his power, causing a black aura flame to erupt around his body as he turned into a ray of light and shot over. A middle-aged man exploded out with a powerful aura and turned into a ray of light as he chased after Zhao Fu. Seeing the middle-aged man chase after him, Zhao Fu took out the sadistic killing sword and ferociously slashed out. An enormous blood-red crescent gave off a massive sword wind as it slashed towards the city lord with shocking aura. The city lord felt quite startled and exploded out with power to defend. However, he was sent flying back 10 or so steps by the blood-red crescent, and he felt quite startled. The person who had stolen the ancestor's corpse was even more powerful than him. The city lord hesitated as to whether or not he should continue to give chase. If he continued to give chase, his life would be in danger, and he felt quite hesitant. However, as the city lord hesitated, Zhao Fu disappeared without a trace, and the city lord could only furiously roar. Seeing that the city lord did not continue to chase after him, Zhao Fu smiled and went to the place he had agreed on with the women, and he asked them to help keep watch. On a flat ground, Zhao Fu sat cross-legged, a trace of excitement and nervousness on his face. He took out 2 corpses. If he could refine these 2 corpses, he would have 2 more totems, and Zhao Fu would have 34 totems. Chapter 1662. Zhao Fu first released a black fog that covered the 2 ancestor corpses and started to refine them. The 2 corpses continuously dissolved, and their hands and feet started to disappear. Finally, their bodies also disappeared, turning into 2 orbs of black water that floated in the air, giving off a faint light and a powerful aura. Zhao Fu first opened his mouth and sucked in the black water on the left. As the black water entered his stomach, a massive wave of cat race power spread out. Zhao Fu quickly absorbed this power and fused it into his body, causing Zhao Fu's body to give off a green light. Zhao Fu once again felt a pain on his back, and a cat race totem giving off a green light slowly appeared. After refining the cat race corpses, Zhao Fu opened his mouth and sucked in the other orb of black water. A massive wave of power once again spread out within his body, and Zhao Fu continued to absorb this massive wave of power and fuse it into his body. A black light spread out from Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu once again felt a pain on his back as a black rabbit person totem gradually appeared. Boom! The instant the totem appeared, Zhao Fu's body uncontrollably exploded out with an incredibly powerful aura. His back flashed with different colored lights, and the totems seemed to come to life. Sensing this aura, the people guarding the surroundings felt as if they had fallen into icy water. A boundless coldness flowed towards them, and their souls wailed. A might that came from the depths of their bloodlines caused them to involuntarily kneel towards Zhao Fu. They looked at the black energy barrier with pale faces, not knowing what was going on. Why did Zhao Fu's body give off such a terrifying bloodline might? It was as if the ruler of the Outlander race was above them, and they could not resist at all. The entire area fell into a deathly silence. Not a single sound could be heard, and the air became extremely heavy. Zhao Fu's eyes gave off various lights as he looked towards the horizon, his expression calm. He was unable to awaken the Outlander Emperor's star yet, and he needed a suitable opportunity. It was time to act. After closing his eyes, the light on Zhao Fu's back gradually disappeared, and the black energy barrier dissipated as Zhao Fu appeared. The women let out a sigh of relief because the might had disappeared. They wanted to ask Zhao Fu what was going on, but Zhao Fu said calmly, "Wait for me here. I have something important to do." Hearing this, the women could tell how important this matter was and nodded. Zhao Fu turned into a ray of light and shot over the horizon, disappearing. He appeared before an elephant person who had an elephant's head and a human's body. His skin was like jade, and his ivory teeth were also like jade. He had a gentle expression and looked like he was easy to get along with. This elephant person was the 10th ranked Manuka, and he had won 75 million points. According to the plan, Manuka was the 10th ranked genius. The people on the viewing platforms looked quite surprised. They had never thought that a perverted bandit like Zhao Fu would go to the 10th ranked genius. Wasn't he seeking death? Ha ha ha. I'm so happy. I'll soon be able to see that perverted bandits suffer retribution. I support the elephant person and teach that bastard a lesson for the heavens. I don't understand. Even if he wanted to die, why would he go to the top 10 geniuses? Can he afford to offend these people? Quietly watch how mighty the elephant person is and how he'll beat up that perverted bandit. It'll be best if he turns him into dust and gets rid of this scourge. The elephant person looked at the cloaked figure and sensed the coldness coming off from Zhao Fu's body. His expression became serious as he asked, "What business do you have with me?" Zhao Fu drew the sadistic killing sword and replied coldly, "To defeat you." Right after speaking, Zhao Fu sent a powerful wave of power into the sadistic killing sword. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as the sadistic killing sword gave off an intense blood-red sword light. A massive blood-red sword chi exploded out and blasted out like a wild gale, causing the ground to crack. Zhao Fu attacked with his full strength because he was facing one of the Outlander race's top 10 geniuses. Moreover, this person's cultivation was at the peak of the world realm, so he had to use his full strength or else he might lose. The elephant person's expression became serious, and he gripped his fists, which were covered with a pair of iron gauntlets. His muscles bulged as a formless force field spread out. Facing Zhao Fu's challenge, the elephant person did not dare to be careless. Shing! Zhao Fu was the first to attack. He rushed forwards and slashed out with his sword, sending out a massive blood-red sword light that gave off a cruel aura towards the elephant person. Bang! The elephant person punched out, sending out a powerful fist energy that caused the air to explode. The blood-red sword light was shattered by the punch. By now, Zhao Fu had arrived in front of him, and his sword gave off a terrifying sword light as he slashed towards the elephant person's head. The elephant person dodged to the side, avoiding Zhao Fu's attack, and he punched out, sending out a ferocious fist energy towards Zhao Fu's chest. It seemed as if it could reduce a boulder to dust. Zhao Fu was given a big fright, and a black energy barrier appeared around him. Bang! The terrifying fist energy slammed into the barrier, resulting in a massive sound. The barrier shattered into countless pieces and disappeared, But Zhao Fu had blocked this attack. Boom! The elephant person did not have time to react and once again punched out, causing the air to explode as a terrifying fist energy containing destructive power blasted toward Zhao Fu. Xing! Zhao Fu sent large amounts of power into the sadistic killing sword, and a sword hum sounded out as the sadistic killing sword gave off intense sword light, giving off an incredibly cold sword chi. Zhao Fu slashed out. Bang! The sword light and fist energy collided, resulting in a massive explosion that sent both of them back 10 or so meters. The two of them looked at each other with serious expressions, and with powerful auras, they charged towards each other. The elephant person gave off destructive power, while Zhao Fu gave off a sharp sword light. Bang! 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 The elephant person continuously punched out, sending out ferocious fist energies towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu continuously slashed out, sending out sharp sword lights as the two of them continuously clashed, resulting in explosions. Powerful gales spread out. The people on the viewing platforms watched seriously. This battle had attracted countless people's gazes, and what was surprising was that the perverted bandit's strength was not any weaker than the elephant person's. Moreover, the perverted bandit was ranked last while the elephant person was ranked 10th. The difference between the two was simply too great, which was quite shocking. Boom! A blue aura flame appeared around the elephant person's fist, and terrifying power seemed to cause space to twist. He punched out, sending out a blue fist energy towards Zhao Fu. Chapter 1663. Bang! The powerful fist energy slammed into the sword, causing Zhao Fu's body to slide back 10 or so meters. The hand holding the sword trembled, and he felt a wave of pain as if the web between his thumb and forefinger had been torn apart. The elephant person leapt forwards and instantly appeared in front of Zhao Fu. His fist, which was covered in a blue aura flame, gave off explosive power as it blasted towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's gaze was cold, and his blood started to boil as he sent all of his power into the sadistic killing sword. The sword spirit opened its blood-red eyes and gave a cruel smile as the sword gave off a brilliant sword light, and a bloody and merciless sword intent spread out, causing the surroundings to chill. Boom! The fist slammed toward Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu slashed out, sending out a terrifying sword energy. A massive sound rang out as the elephant person's body was sent flying back. The elephant person flew back 20 or so meters before stopping, blood dripping from his fist and a small cut on his finger. You have the qualifications to challenge me, so I'm going to use my full strength. I'll show you my power as one of the Outlander race's top 10 geniuses. The elephant person's expression was serious as he looked at Zhao Fu seriously. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the elephant person exploded out with immense power, sending out wild gales and causing the ground to collapse. A blue aura flame erupted around the elephant person's body, and his body grew until he was 3 meters tall. He was covered with powerful muscles and gave off a powerful aura of suppression. A 10-meter wide, 3-meter deep crater had appeared in the ground, and the elephant person floated above the crater, coldly looking at Zhao Fu. Swish! The elephant person instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of Zhao Fu, punching out with destructive power and bringing with it a massive gale as it flew toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he blocked with his sword as a black energy barrier appeared. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as the defensive barrier exploded. Zhao Fu's body flew back 100 or so meters and crashed to the ground. He tasted something sweet in his throat, and a trace of blood leaked out from the corner of his lips. A trace of fury appeared on Zhao Fu's face, and an enormous black aura flame erupted around him. It swept out like a wild gale, causing the ground to continuously crack. The elephant person gave off a powerful aura as he charged over like a ferocious beast. He clenched his fists and gathered large amounts of blue aura flames. Zhao Fu dragged the sadistic killing sword behind him, leaving behind a trail of sword chi as he charged over. The elephant person's fist gave off terrifying power as it punched toward Zhao Fu. The immense power caused space to twist, and this punch seemed to be able to shatter space. Zhao Fu slashed out, sending out a brilliant sword light that gave off an incredibly bloody and cruel sword intent. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the two terrifying forces collided. A shock wave spread out, and the ground instantly collapsed, forming a 100-meter-wide crater. Dust and sand flew into the air. The fist wrapped in blue aura flames, and the sword giving off intense blood-red sword light clashed, and neither was pushed back at all. The elephant person's body erupted with blue aura flames, while Zhao Fu's body erupted with black aura flames. The two aura flames gave off powerful auras as they clashed, creating wild gales. The elephant person roared as the aura flames around his body more than doubled in size, and an even more terrifying power exploded out from his body. The elephant person vigorously pushed out with his fist, causing a massive wave of power to surge out. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu's body was blasted back hundreds of meters and crashed to the ground, blood once again leaking out of his lips. The elephant person leapt into the air and attacked Zhao Fu from above. He punched out with both fists, giving off a massive blue aura flame. He was like a balloon meteor that left a trail in the air as he gave off destructive power as he smashed toward Zhao Fu. Roar! As the balloon meteor slammed over, Zhao Fu exploded out with all of his divine bloodline's power, causing an even greater black aura to burn and form a savage black dragon head that gave off a heaven-shaking roar. Zhao Fu swung his sword and a massive black dragon rushed out of Zhao Fu's body, giving off terrifying power as it slammed towards the blue meteor. Bang! The two attacks collided in the air, resulting in a massive explosion. Countless rays of blinding light shot out, covering the surrounding 100 kilometers, and a terrifying destructive power instantly blasted out, causing the ground to collapse and all rocks and trees to shatter. Zhao Fu was sent back 10 or so meters, while the elephant person flew back and crashed to the ground, a trace of blood leaking out of his mouth. The elephant person crawled up from the ground, a trace of anger on his face. He raised his head and roared, causing clouds to swirl as heaven and earth power to continuously flow into the elephant person's body. The elephant person's body once again grew until he was 5 meters tall and covered with powerful muscles. The blue aura flames around him continuously flickered, causing wild gales to spread out and the ground to crack. Boom! The elephant person turned into an intense ray of light and shot towards Zhao Fu with terrifying power. Zhao Fu leaned forwards and tapped off the ground as he shot toward the elephant person. At the same time, a black blood-red flame appeared around Zhao Fu's body, and the surrounding heaven and earth power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body, causing an even more terrifying power to flow out, causing the heavens and earth to dim. Bang! 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 The two of them once again clashed. The elephant person continuously punched out, sending out waves of fist energy, while Zhao Fu slashed out rays of sword light. The two of them clashed, resulting in massive explosions and terrifying shock waves rippled out, causing clouds to swirl. The people in the surroundings also sensed this terrifying shock wave and could not help but gather in that direction, and they saw the two people intensely fighting. They could not help but feel quite shocked when they saw how intense their battle was. They knew that the elephant person was one of the top 10 geniuses, but they did not know who the person fighting against the elephant person was. They were also quite shocked. Just who was that person? His strength was no weaker than the elephant person's, and he was able to fight with the elephant person so intensely. The people on the viewing platforms were also quite shocked. They had never thought that the perverted demon would have such great power. Seeing the two people intensely fighting, they felt quite excited because this battle was simply too exciting. They had come here mainly to see such an intense battle. Back at the battlefield, the two sides once again clashed and retreated hundreds of meters. The elephant person got into a horse stance and placed his fists on either side of his abdomen before punching out. Boom! The two punches of energy turned into blue rays of light that contained destructive power as they shot towards Zhao Fu incredibly quickly. As they flashed past, explosions sounded out, and a 2-meter wide and 15 centimeters deep gash appeared on the ground. Chapter 1664. Bang! The terrifying blue laser shot over, and Zhao Fu slashed out with his sword. A terrifying sword intent containing destructive power slashed out, seeming to be able to tear apart space. It slashed the blue laser in half, causing it to turn into motes of light and dissipate. However, the elephant person's body suddenly appeared in front of Zhao Fu, and his massive fist slammed out with immense power, seeming to want to smash Zhao Fu's head apart like a watermelon. Zhao Fu hurriedly blocked with his sword, but in the next moment, Zhao Fu was sent flying by that massive power. The elephant person rushed forwards and caught up to Zhao Fu, and his fist gave off terrifying power as it slammed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu forcefully twisted his body, and the sword in his hand gave off a massive sword light as it slashed towards the fist. Bang! The two of them collided, resulting in a shockwave that sent both of them flying back. However, the instant they landed on the ground, massive aura flames once again erupted around their bodies as they rushed at each other. The elephant person continuously punched out, leaving behind afterimages. It was as if there were countless fists flying towards Zhao Fu, giving off shocking sounds. Zhao Fu continuously slashed out with his sword, sending out a large wave of sword light, but they were all shattered by the elephant person's fists. Because the elephant person punched out with both hands, he was able to attack more and more quickly than Zhao Fu. Gradually, Zhao Fu was suppressed, and his sword lights were continuously shattered. There were fewer and fewer sword lights, while the elephant person punched out more and more fists. Bang! The elephant person once again punched out, causing the air to explode. The terrifying fist slammed into Zhao Fu's chest, and Zhao Fu felt as if he'd been hit by a massive beast as he quickly flew back. The elephant person's expression was cold as he raised a hand and pressed it towards the sky, and a blue aura flame flowed out of his hand. Heaven and earth power madly gathered as a massive image of an elephant foot appeared in the sky, giving off an incredibly powerful aura of suppression. It vigorously stomped down towards Zhao Fu, and the power it contained seemed to be able to crush a small mountain. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ground continuously trembled. Rocks flew everywhere, and dust rose into the air as a footprint that was 1,000 meters wide and 100 meters deep appeared on the ground. The people in the surroundings were somewhat shocked, and their hair stood on end. This was the terrifying power of the Outlander race's top 10 geniuses. They had no choice but to submit. They believed that they didn't have such terrifying power, and that if they faced this kind of power, they would undoubtedly die. And that person was trampled by such a terrifying foot. Was he dead or alive? Zhao Fu felt that even though that person was strong, his cultivation was quite weak, and he was not a match for the elephant person. However, now that the dust was everywhere, no one knew what the result would be. They could only stare at the giant footprint. A long roar sounded out as a black aura flame containing immense power rushed into the sky, forming a black pillar of aura that seemed to hold up the heavens and the earth. The sky gradually darkened, and countless traces of black aura spread out, covering the sky. Massive amounts of heaven and earth power madly surged over, and a supreme, emperor-like might spread out. The surrounding temperature plummeted, and the air seemed to freeze. Everyone in the surroundings, including the elephant person, felt their hair stand on end as they looked at the center of the footprint in shock. There was a figure wearing a black cloak and holding a black sword, giving off an extremely terrifying aura. Space continuously twisted, making that figure seem illusory and unreal. That person raised his sword and slashed down, and a 1,000-meter-long black sword light ferociously shot out. The massive sword energy split apart the ground as the sword light continued towards the elephant person. The elephant person felt quite startled and blocked with his hands in front of him. An intense blue aura flame appeared around his body, forming a powerful blue aura flame barrier. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the blue aura flame barrier was slashed apart by the sword light. The elephant person was also sent flying, heavily crashing to the ground and coughing up a large mouthful of blood. Everyone gulped as they looked at Zhao Fu's terrifying sword light. They also looked at the elephant person. Facing such a terrifying person, how could the elephant person defend? The elephant person crawled up from the ground with great difficulty and looked at Zhao Fu coldly before letting out a breath. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive blue aura flame flooded out of the elephant person's body, covering the surrounding 1,000 meters. The elephant person's body once again grew, and he became 10 meters tall. His body was covered with explosive muscles, and even space seemed to be unable to withstand his power and was gradually torn apart. Everyone looked at the elephant person in shock. He could unleash such terrifying power. This power could rival the 7th-ranked genius, and it seemed that the elephant person's power had greatly improved. Now that this battle was over, everyone became even more excited and held their breaths, looking forward to the upcoming battle. Would the elephant person, one of the top 10 geniuses, win, or would the mysterious perverted bandit win? Back at the battlefield, the two people gave off terrifying auras as they stared at each other. Both of their gazes were incredibly cold, and in that moment, both of them disappeared. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the two people appeared between them. The elephant person punched out while Zhao Fu slashed out with his sword. The two attacks collided, causing blinding light to shoot out as a 1,000-meter-wide crater appeared in the ground. Zhao Fu's eyes lit up as he looked at Zhao Fu's sword. Roar! The 10-meter-tall elephant person gave a massive roar as a ferocious aura flowed out. He gripped his fists, which were surrounded by countless traces of blue flames. Boom! 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 The elephant person continuously swung his fists, sending out fist images. Each of the fist images contained terrifying power and could easily shatter boulders. The wave of fist images seemed to be able to reduce powerful, godly spirits to dust. It was this move again. Zhao Fu would not continue to be at a disadvantage. He took out the Death Disaster Sword and held the Sadistic Killing Sword in one hand and the Death Disaster Sword in the other, sending out blood-red sword lights and gray sword lights. Each of these sword lights contained terrifying power. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as the fist images and sword lights continuously clashed, causing powerful shockwaves to spread out, causing massive gales to blow in all directions. The ground no longer collapsed but continued to spread out, causing countless trees to sway and boulders to roll. Even space itself started to crack, and the entire world sank into terror. The people in the surroundings hurriedly retreated because they were also affected by the shockwaves. If they did not retreat now, it would be too late. Boom! This time, it was Zhao Fu who won. A powerful sword light blasted the elephant person back, causing him to crash heavily against a cliff and open up a large crater. Blood leaked out of the elephant person's mouth, and there was a gash on his chest. Chapter 1665. The elephant person's eyes were bloodshot and gave off a savage look. Runes appeared on his body, and a berserk aura flame spread out, causing the surrounding walls to continuously crack. The elephant person seemed to have entered a berserk state and no longer had much reason. Boom! Facing the incoming Zhao Fu, the elephant person breathed in and breathed out from his trunk, causing a ferocious pillar of air to blast towards Zhao Fu with terrifying power. Zhao Fu blocked with his two swords, but he was sent flying by the pillar of air. The elephant person's expression was savage as he pushed against the walls with both hands and rushed out, chasing after Zhao Fu. He punched out with immense power, causing the space around him to twist. Bang! After being hit by the punch, Zhao Fu's body flew down and heavily crashed into the ground, opening up a large crater and causing rocks to fly everywhere. In the next moment, the elephant person turned into a ray of light and gave off a massive aura as he rushed toward Zhao Fu. His fists gave off a berserk blue aura flame as he punched out with destructive power toward Zhao Fu. Boom! Within the crater, Zhao Fu raised the Death Disaster Sword and sent large amounts of power into it. Massive amounts of deathly chi flowed out, giving off an icy aura of death. It formed an enormous triangular awl that stabbed towards the elephant person with terrifying power. Bang! The elephant person's expression was savage as his fists vigorously slammed against the triangular awl. The berserk fist energy instantly caused the awl to explode, causing it to turn into gray aura. The elephant person's terrifying fists continued toward Zhao Fu, but Zhao Fu did not feel any fear and sent large amounts of power into the sadistic killing sword. The sadistic killing sword gave off intense sword light, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out. Shing! An enormous blood-red crescent containing terrifying power slashed out, sending the elephant person flying back. The elephant person flew back hundreds of meters before crashing to the ground, opening up a large crater. A gash appeared on his body, from which blood continuously flowed out. The immense pain caused the elephant person to roar even more furiously, and his aura became even more berserk. Bang! Bang, bang, bang. The elephant person madly rushed over, giving off an incredibly ferocious aura. He was incredibly fast and smashed into the air, causing explosions to ring out. His aura was incredibly terrifying, and he was like a terrifying monster. In that instant, the elephant person appeared in front of Zhao Fu and vigorously punched toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu raised his hands to block, and his feet sank into the ground. Roar! The elephant person suddenly deeply breathed in and breathed out with his trunk, causing Zhao Fu to feel quite startled. He hurriedly unleashed his defensive barrier, and the pillar of air slammed against the barrier, causing it to be covered with cracks. After blocking the elephant person's attack, before Zhao Fu could relax, the elephant person raised his leg and kicked out with terrifying power. Bang! A muffled sound rang out, and Zhao Fu's body shot out like a stone. He flew past, smashing through several boulders before finally stopping and coughing up a large mouthful of blood. Roar! The elephant person furiously roared and gave off a berserk aura as he charged out like a primordial beast, completely unstoppable. Zhao Fu crawled up from the ground with a pained expression. He held the sadistic killing sword in one hand and the death disaster sword in the other. He split his body's power into two parts and sent them into the two swords. One sword gave off intense sword light, giving off a bloody and twisted sword intent, while the other gave off an intense gray light, giving off a deathly sword intent. The elephant person gave off a terrifying aura and was about to reach Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu fused the two swords together, and countless rays of sword light spread out, forming a 10 or so meter long sword of light that was gray on one side and blood red on the other. Boom! The elephant person vigorously punched out with both fists, and the powerful energy turned into two massive rays of blue light that gave off destructive power as they shot towards Zhao Fu. The light flashed by. Shing! Zhao Fu gripped the 10 or so meter long sword of light with both hands and vigorously slashed out, sending out an enormous crescent. The terrifying sword energy cut off a layer of the ground as it flew towards the elephant person. It first destroyed the two rays of blue light before sending the elephant person flying back and crashing to the ground. There was a massive gash on his body that was so deep that bones could be seen and blood flowed out. Roar! The heavily injured elephant person raised his head and gave a massive roar that shook the surroundings. He exploded out with all of his power, not leaving anything behind. Blood flew into the sky, causing his body to become much thinner. Immediately, the heavens and earth went through a massive change as clouds swirled. All of the world's power gathered, and countless rays of blue light spread out from the sky. A 10,000-meter-long blue jade elephant slowly appeared in the sky, and it gave off a mountain-like might, causing the ground to seem to sink. The air around it seemed to freeze, and everyone felt a wave of terror. Zhao Fu's expression became incredibly serious as he held the sadistic killing sword in one hand and the death disaster sword in the other, and he sent all of his power into them. The two swords gave off resplendent sword light. Countless traces of deathly aura spread out like a gray fog, giving off an intense, deathly intent. At the same time, countless remnant souls appeared within the fog, including angels with broken wings, headless demons, elves with their eyes gouged out, and humans with only half their bodies left. The deathly fog coldly spread out, forming a boundless sea of deathly fog. Countless dismembered corpses appeared within it, and a cold, deathly intent and murderous intent covered everyone, causing all creatures to fall into terror. Roar! Under the elephant person's control, the elephant person raised its head and gave a heaven-shaking roar, causing the sky to seem as if it was going to split open. The elephant then gave off a massive aura that seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and earth as it ferociously smashed toward Zhao Fu. The world was unable to withstand this and started to collapse. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu slashed out with both swords with all of his strength. The ocean of corpses gave off a boundless aura and an icy aura of death and killing intent as they flooded forwards, seeming to exterminate everything. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out, causing the entire secret zone to tremble. The sea of corpses and the blue jade mammoth clashed with unimaginable power, causing powerful light to shoot out in all directions. A barrier of destructive power instantly spread out, enveloping the surrounding 100,000 meters. Everything within the barrier was reduced to dust. The area outside the barrier was greatly affected as well. Countless trees were destroyed and rocks were scattered everywhere, creating a scene of devastation. At that moment, everyone in the secret realm sensed these terrifying ripples and stopped what they were doing, looking in the direction of the battle in shock. The people in the surroundings and the people on the viewing platforms all fell into shock as they looked at the terrifying, destructive power of the battle. Chapter 1666. Did that perverted bandit really win? Everyone on the viewing platforms looked incredibly shocked as they looked at the destruction caused by the battle. They had never thought that the perverted bandit would have such strength. Before, everyone had felt quite disdainful of him challenging the Outlander domain as the last person, and they felt that he was seeking death. Apart from toying with women, such a bastard could not compare to the top 10 geniuses. The top 10 geniuses were the 10 most powerful people in the Outlander domain, and they could not be surpassed. However, that perverted bandit had broken this rule and did not use any tricks. He had relied on his true strength, and everyone could not help but feel a trace of respect towards a genius. However, for such a perverted bandit who wanted to do anything to women, everyone felt that it was quite strange to feel a trace of respect towards him. What made everyone feel even more curious was just who this person was. His background was most likely not simple, or else he would not have been able to defeat the top 10 geniuses. Countless people started to investigate Zhao Fu, wanting to see just who he was. The elephant person's empire felt quite nervous and worried about the elephant person's safety. Such a terrifying battle was enough to take one's life, and it was not a small fight. As one of the top 10 geniuses, the elephant person's talent far surpassed ordinary people's imaginations, and he was the person that the Empire valued the most. Even though he had lost this time, facing the powerful Zhao Fu, it was not shameful at all. Within the secret realm, everyone looked at this terrifying scene in shock. This was a battle between geniuses, and even if they were given a lifetime, they would not be able to control such terrifying power. Everyone's hearts were filled with excitement, and their blood was already boiling. To be able to see two peerless geniuses fight was an honor for them. Most likely, the people outside had long since heard of this battle, and they could announce to the outside that they were the witnesses of this battle. They had witnessed the fall of a peerless genius and the rise of a peerless genius to become the most dazzling star. The remaining 9 geniuses, including the Sun Elf, all looked quite serious as they looked at the direction of the battle. They understood that the trial from now on would not be simple. A terrifying person had appeared. The elephant person had already chosen to leave the secret realm, and after obtaining his points, Zhao Fu had suffered some injuries. In order to prevent others from spying on him, he quickly left the battlefield and found a place with no one around to recover. Only after 2 or so days did Zhao Fu fully recover from his injuries. At the same time, because he had defeated the elephant person, Zhao Fu could sense that his Emperor Star's opportunity to break through had increased greatly. He also felt that there was a powerful will at the center of the secret realm that seemed to be paying attention to him. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and did not know if this was good or bad. However, this was unimaginably powerful, and Zhao Fu instinctively felt some fear. However, after carefully sensing it, Zhao Fu felt that the will didn't have any malicious intent, and it was only paying attention to him for a moment. Only then did Zhao Fu relax. The next step was to continue with the plan and find a second opponent, who was ranked 9th, the 8-winged feather person, Yuluowa. Zhao Fu quickly found her, and it was as if there was some kind of power guiding Zhao Fu. Yuluowa was also affected by some kind of power and was waiting for Zhao Fu. Yuluowa was a peerlessly beautiful woman with a tall and slim figure. She had snow-white hair and wore a white robe. She had 8 pairs of silver wings on her back and gave off a proud aura. She gave off a holy aura and looked like an angel. "You've finally come." Yuluowa stood there as her beautiful eyes fell on Zhao Fu's body, and her voice was cold and contained a trace of arrogance. Zhao Fu felt quite surprised. It was as if Yuluowa had been waiting for him and had long since known that he would come. Zhao Fu did not know why, but he had to defeat this woman. If he could defeat her, not only would he obtain opportunities, but he would also have a greater chance at awakening his Emperor's Star. The people on the viewing platforms felt quite startled. Seeing that perverted demon face off against the 9th-ranked feather person, they felt quite nervous and excited. With 2 geniuses facing off, a terrifying battle would definitely erupt. Now, everyone's opinion of Zhao Fu had greatly changed. Before, everyone had wanted to kill Zhao Fu on behalf of the heavens, but now, no one dared to say such a thing. The 2 empires that had been clamoring for Zhao Fu to pay a heavy price all calmed down and stared at Zhao Fu. In response to Yuluohua's words, Zhao Fu took out the sadistic killing sword and replied, "Since you know why I've come to find you, there's no need to say anything else. Let's begin." Boom! An explosion sounded out as a massive black aura flame erupted around Zhao Fu's body, sending out massive gales that blasted out. Boom! An explosion sounded out as Yuluohua drew a white sword and a silver aura flame erupted around her body, forming wild gales that blew out in all directions. Before the 2 of them even attacked, their auras clashed together, causing the wild gales to become even more ferocious. Countless trees and grasses swayed, and some small rocks were blown into the sky, creating a shocking scene. Shing! A clear sword hum tore through the air as the 2 of them turned into rays of light and shot towards each other. Yuluohua's sword gave off powerful holy light energy as she slashed out, while Zhao Fu's sword gave off blood-red sword light. The 2 swords clashed with immense power, resulting in a sword hum. Yuluohua looked at Zhao Fu and her expression became serious. Just from that attack alone, Zhao Fu's power was not inferior to hers, but she would not accept losing to Zhao Fu. She coldly harumphed, and the aura flame around her body expanded out, causing her power to double. Sensing Yuluohua's power, Zhao Fu did not hesitate to explode out with even greater power. Boom! One was a silver aura flame, while the other was a black aura flame. The two aura flames gave off immense power as they clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion as the two of them flew back 10 or so meters. Yu Luohua's expression was cold as she vigorously slashed out with her sword, and a searing crescent gave off terrifying power as it slashed toward Zhao Fu. It was incredibly fast and was about to hit Zhao Fu in the blink of an eye. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and the sadistic killing sword gave off a sharp sword light as it shattered the crescent, causing it to turn into motes of white light and disappear. Swish! At that moment, Yu Luohua flew incredibly quickly and arrived in front of Zhao Fu. She gripped her sword with both hands and sent powerful power into it, causing it to give off an intense white sword light and an intense holy light energy to spread out. Boom! Yu Luohua swooped down with this sword, giving off a massive sound as she gave off a terrifying aura as she slashed down toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and blocked with his sword. Bang! Chapter 1667. Bang! In the next moment, Yu Luohua twisted her body and kicked Zhao Fu's chest, causing Zhao Fu to slide back 10 or so meters before stopping. Feeling the pain in his chest, Zhao Fu looked at Yu Luohua seriously. As the 9th-ranked genius, she was much more powerful than the elephant person. Yu Luohua raised her head and said with a trace of arrogance, "With your current strength, it's impossible for you to defeat me. It's best if you challenge someone else and maintain your 10th place. Only then will you have the right to ascend the King of King's Mountain." Zhao Fu did not understand what the King of King's Mountain was, but he felt quite displeased at Yu Luohua's arrogant tone. His expression was cold as he exploded out with an even more ferocious aura and rushed at Yu Luohua. Seeing that Zhao Fu was unwilling to admit defeat, Yu Luohua coldly harumphed and gave off a powerful aura as she rushed at Zhao Fu. Shing! Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a blood-red sword light containing ferocious power slashed towards Yu Luohua. Yu Luohua vigorously slashed out with her sword, and a white sword light containing searing power slashed toward Zhao Fu. Bang! The two sword lights collided, resulting in an enormous explosion. Sword light shot everywhere, and a storm of sword chi spread out. Shing! 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 Zhao Fu sent large amounts of power into the sadistic killing sword, and he continuously slashed out with terrifying power, sending out blood-red sword lights towards Yu Luohua. Yu Luohua also sent powerful power into her sword, and she continuously slashed out, sending out searing white sword lights toward Zhao Fu. Bang! 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 The sword lights continuously collided, resulting in massive explosions. Sword lights continuously shot out, and a powerful storm of sword chi spread out. The ground, trees, and rocks in the surroundings were all left with sword gashes, creating a shocking scene. The people on the viewing platforms did not say anything, and the entire stadium was silent as they watched this battle. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as Yu Luohua's sword gave off a large amount of white light. She vigorously slashed out, causing a massive white sword light to illuminate the surroundings and giving off searing heat as it flew toward Zhao Fu. Facing this attack, Zhao Fu took out the Death Disaster Sword and held the Sadistic Killing Sword in one hand and the Death Disaster Sword in the other. He sent massive amounts of power into the two swords, causing them to give off intense sword light. He vigorously slashed out, and a blood-red sword light and a gray sword light intersected as they slashed towards Yu Luohua. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the two rays of sword light once again collided, resulting in a massive explosion. A terrifying shockwave blasted out, sending the two people flying back. Zhao Fu took a few steps back, and Yu Luohua was sent flying 7 or 8 steps back. Her clothes and hair were quite disheveled from the shockwave. Yu Luohua looked furious as she said coldly, "You've already angered me. Since you don't know what's good for you, go die." Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Yu Luohua gripped her sword with both hands and held it in front of her chest, pointing it towards the sky. Her expression was cold as she spread out her 8 silver wings, giving off an intense silver-white light as a terrifying aura spread out from her body. Yu Luohua raised her sword, which gave off a brilliant white sword light that illuminated the surroundings, and an extremely dangerous aura spread out from the sword. Zhao Fu's hair stood on end, and he felt quite startled. The aura flame around his body flourished as he sent large amounts of power into his 2 swords, causing them to give off large amounts of sword light. Zhao Fu raised the 2 swords and once again fused them together, causing a blood-red and gray sword of light to appear in his hand, and a powerful sword energy spread out. Xing! Yu Luohua's expression was cold as she vigorously slashed down with her sword. An enormous sword light containing searing power that seemed to be able to purify the heavens and earth slashed out, and the air seemed to explode as a massive explosion sounded out. Xing! Zhao Fu gripped the 10-meter-long sword of light with both hands and vigorously slashed out, sending out a terrifying sword energy that seemed to be able to destroy everything and was unstoppable as it ferociously slashed towards Yu Luohua. Bang! A massive explosion once again sounded out as blinding light spread out and a terrifying destructive power swept out, causing the ground to tremble. After everything settled, a crater that was hundreds of meters wide had appeared in the ground. Zhao Fu and Yu Luohua were lying on either side, a trace of blood leaking out of their mouths. Their gazes were cold as they looked at each other. In the next second, the 2 of them gave off powerful auras as they charged at each other. Yu Luohua's sword gave off a sword light as she attacked Zhao Fu, while Zhao Fu's sword split into 2 swords and slashed towards Yu Luohua. Xing! 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 Sword hums sounded out as Yu Luohua continuously slashed out, sending out white sword lights. Zhao Fu continuously slashed towards Yu Luohua ferociously, and as the swords clashed, a powerful gale blew out. Yu Luohua was gradually suppressed by Zhao Fu's 2 swords, and Zhao Fu continuously slashed towards Yu Luohua while Yu Luohua passively defended. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out a blood-red sword light that contained immense power and sent Yu Luohua flying back. Yu Luohua flew back 10 or so meters and looked at Zhao Fu in annoyance as she spread her wings and flew into the air. Boom! A massive wave of power exploded out from Yu Luohua's body as her 8 wings gave off an intense silver-white light, and a terrifying aura spread out from her 8 wings. Swish, swish, swish! Yu Luohua flapped her wings, and 8 rays of silver-white light shot out from her 8 wings, giving off searing heat that seemed to be able to burn the surroundings as they shot toward Zhao Fu incredibly quickly. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and quickly dodged to the side, but the 8 rays of silver-white light seemed to have their own consciousness and could change directions. Zhao Fu once again flew upwards, wanting to dodge. However, the 8 rays of silver-white light once again changed directions and shot upwards with terrifying power. This time, Zhao Fu was unable to dodge, and he could only unleash a defensive barrier to protect himself. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as the rays of light slammed against the black defensive barrier, resulting in massive explosions. After the shockwaves settled, Zhao Fu fell from the sky and landed on the ground. Yu Luohua coldly laughed and exploded out with even greater power. The 8 wings on her back once again gave off intense silver-white light, illuminating the surrounding dozens of kilometers, and a terrifying power spread out. Swish, swish, swish! Yu Luohua flapped her wings, and 8 rays of searing white light containing world-burning power shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu crawled up from the ground and wiped the blood from his lips. Facing the 8 rays of light, he exploded out with his divine bloodline's power. Roar! Roar! Chapter 1668. Bang! Bang! The 8 beams of light gave off terrifying power as they slammed into Zhao Fu, causing explosions to sound out. The ground continuously collapsed and dust billowed out. A 100-meter-wide crater appeared before everyone's eyes, and after the dust settled, they could see that at the center of the crater, there were 9 black dragons circling around Zhao Fu's body, protecting him so that he was not injured at all. Yu Luohua was quite startled. She had never thought that Zhao Fu would be able to block her attacks so easily. The 8 silver-white wings on her back spread out as intense light covered the heavens and earth. From a distance, this place was covered by silver-white light, and the light was so intense that it was difficult to open one's eyes. The temperature in the surroundings rose and became searing hot. The water in the surroundings evaporated, and the plants withered and turned yellow as the ground became dry. Boom! 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 8 rays of silver-white light, giving off searing heat that seemed to be able to purify everything shot out, causing explosions to sound out. They gave off shocking auras as they flew toward Zhao Fu incredibly quickly. Zhao Fu did not move as he looked at Yu Luohua. He ignited his divine bloodline's power, and a transcendent might spread out. It was as if he reigned over all things and was like an emperor's might. An even greater black aura surged out in all directions like an eruption of fire. Roar! 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 9 dragons' roars shook the heavens and earth as the 9 savage black dragons around Zhao Fu received immense power. Their bodies continuously grew larger and gave off intense black light as they roared and gave off terrifying destructive power as they rushed towards Yu Luohua. Bang! 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 The searing beams of light collided with the ferocious black dragons, resulting in massive explosions. It was as if space itself was going to split in half, and terrifying shockwaves spread out, causing the heavens and earth to dim. Sensing these terrifying shockwaves, everyone's expressions fell, but they still smiled and hurried over. This was most likely another battle between 2 peerless geniuses, and ordinary people would not be able to see such a thing. At the same time, they were curious as to which 2 heavens chosen had caused such an intense battle. The battle from 2 days ago had caused their blood to surge with excitement, and they really wanted to see such a battle again. However, when they reached the outskirts, they looked incredibly shocked. It was that person fighting against the 9th-ranked Yu Luohua again. After the battle 2 days ago, they hadn't seen this person again. Who would have thought that after 2 days, he would find the 9th-ranked heavens chosen to fight again? This was truly admirable. The people in the stands continued to watch seriously and did not make any noise. They were excited and nervous as they watched the terrifying battle. They did not want to miss a single second, and they did not have the ability to judge who would win. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, Zhao Fu and Yu Luohua continued to fight. Sword light constantly shot out, setting off a fierce storm of sword chi that spread out in all directions. Bang! Zhao Fu once again fused his 2 swords together, forming a 10-meter-long sword of light. It gave off immense power as it slashed Yu Luohua to the ground, opening up a 10 or so meter wide crater. Yu Luohua coughed up a large mouthful of blood and furiously looked at Zhao Fu. She roared, and a silver-white light exploded out as a terrifying power spread out, causing the ground in the surrounding 1,000 meters to cave in. After the light dissipated, Yu Luohua stood in the crater, giving off a faint light. 2 pairs of wings had appeared on her back, and she could now be called a 12-winged feather person. She gave off an extremely powerful aura. No one had expected Yu Luohua to be a 12-winged feather person, and only now did she reveal her full power. This kind of power could compare to the 7th-ranked heavens chosen. Yu Luohua's gaze coldly fell on Zhao Fu's body as she slowly raised her sword and vigorously slashed out. A massive white sword light containing searing power slashed out, causing the air to become scorching hot and causing cracks to appear in the space around her. Zhao Fu looked at Yu Luohua and said, "Yu Luohua, Yu Luohua." Boom, The sword heavily slammed into the ground, causing the ground to tremble and countless rocks to fly everywhere. A 1,000-meter-long sword gash, giving off a searing aura, appeared. Zhao Fu dodged the main attack, but he was sent flying by the shockwaves. Yuluo gave off a faint light as she stood in the air with a cold expression. Her gaze once again fell on Zhao Fu's body, and she slowly raised her sword, giving off a terrifying sword energy. Zhao Fu's expression became savage, and he no longer held back as he ignited his divine bloodline's power. A massive black blood-red flame erupted around Zhao Fu's body, and the ground was unable to withstand this power and collapsed as 9 savage black dragons once again appeared around Zhao Fu. Xing! Yuluo stood in the air and slashed down, sending out a terrifying white sword light that gave off a purifying power toward Zhao Fu. At that moment, Zhao Fu also slashed out, sending out a blood-red sword light, giving off a berserk sword intent as it ferociously slashed towards the white sword light. Bang! Another massive explosion sounded out as the 2 sword lights clashed together, resulting in a massive destructive power that blasted out like a terrifying storm. Just as the explosion sounded out, Zhao Fu gripped his sword with both hands and gave off 9 savage black dragons as he rushed towards Yuluo. Yuluo's expression was cold, as she also gave off a powerful aura as she rushed toward Zhao Fu. Xing, Xing, Xing! Zhao Fu continuously slashed out with his swords, sending out sword lights towards Yuluo. Each sword light gave off massive destructive power, and Yuluo continuously swung her sword, sending out terrifying white sword lights. The 2 swords continuously clashed, resulting in massive sounds of metal colliding and powerful gales being blown out. Yuluo's gaze was cold as she spread out her 12 wings, giving off large amounts of silver-white light as a terrifying searing power spread out. Boom! 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 12 silver-white rays of light containing ferocious power shot out, resulting in massive explosions. The air seemed to explode as shockwaves spread out. Roar! Roar! 9 dragons' roars sounded out as the 9 savage black dragons around Zhao Fu gave off terrifying dragon's might as they smashed towards Yuluo. Bang! The black dragons gave off large amounts of black light, and the rays of light gave off large amounts of silver-white light. It was as if the 2 massive rays of light clashed together, causing a terrifying shockwave to ripple out. Because Zhao Fu and Yuluo were too close, they were both sent flying 100 meters back, and a trace of blood leaked out of their lips. In the next moment, the 2 of them once again gave off powerful auras as they turned into 2 powerful rays of light and continuously clashed, resulting in massive explosions in the sky. Chapter 1669. Xing! Yuluo stabbed towards Zhao Fu's throat, and Zhao Fu used the sadistic killing sword to block while gripping the death disaster sword with his other hand and slashing towards Yuluo. Yuluo dodged to the side, and another white sword light slashed out. Zhao Fu dodged to the side and avoided that white sword light, and he sent his power into the death disaster sword. The death disaster sword gave off a large amount of gray, deathly chi that spread out like a fog, causing the surrounding temperature to become cold. Boom! Zhao Fu swung the death disaster sword in his hand, and a massive wave of deathly mist containing a cold, deathly intent flooded towards Yuluo with shocking sounds. Yuluo spread out her 12 wings, which gave off intense white light and searing heat as they spread out. Under the illumination of the white light, the surrounding deathly fog rapidly dispersed. In just a moment, the huge deathly fog had disappeared. Suddenly, Zhao Fu appeared behind Yuluo, using the deathly mist as cover. He sent powerful power into his sword and vigorously slashed out. Bang! Yuluo was sent flying by Zhao Fu's attack, and there were wounds all over her body. Blood continuously flowed out, and her pure white wings were stained with blood. Boom! Yu Luohua's expression was cold as she gripped her sword and exploded out with an incredibly powerful aura. She slashed out an enormous sword light that gave off a searing aura as it tore through the sky toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and also exploded out with power, blocking with his two swords in front of him, and he also unleashed a powerful black defensive barrier. Bang! The enormous sword light tore through the heavens and earth, and Zhao Fu was sent flying. His defensive barrier shattered, and he only stopped after flying hundreds of meters. He felt immense pain in his hands, and his muscles felt as if they had been torn apart. Yu Luohua's expression was cold as she turned into a ray of light and rushed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed and gripped his swords with both hands as he rushed towards Yu Luohua. Bang! Bang, bang, bang. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out again and again, using his full strength. Each sword strike contained immense power and seemed to be able to shatter space, giving off terrifying ripples. Yu Luohua also sent terrifying power into her sword, causing each sword strike to give off brilliant sword light. Both sides kept colliding. Boom! Yu Luohua roared as her body exploded out with intense white light. She held her sword, which gave off intense white light, and she vigorously rushed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu roared and gave off ferocious black flames as he slammed towards Yu Luohua. The two of them once again collided, resulting in a terrifying explosion. The two people were blasted back by the explosion and crashed to the ground. The spectators were stunned. Is this a draw? Boom! A ray of white light exploded out, covering the surrounding tens of thousands of meters. A terrifying aura continuously blew out like a wild gale, causing countless trees to sway. There was a trace of blood at Yu Luohua's lips as she stood on the ground and raised her sword with one hand. The sword gave off a formless sword energy, causing the space around her to twist. Powerful images appeared around her, which were feather people soldiers with wings on their backs. They had cold expressions and wore exquisite armor. They gave off powerful auras, and there were many of them, at least tens of thousands of them. Boom! An enormous black aura flame rushed into the sky, and the surrounding heaven and earth power madly gathered. Zhao Fu held a sword in each hand and gave off intense sword light. A deathly fog spread out, covering the surrounding 10,000 meters. At the same time, dismembered corpses appeared around Zhao Fu. There were headless demons, armless humans, and elves with only their upper bodies, an icy cold death intent, and a cruel and twisted sword intent spread out like a tide, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet. Boom! Yu Luohua's sword heavily descended, and the countless feather people soldiers gave off terrifying auras as they flooded towards Zhao Fu, seeming to want to destroy everything. Boom! Zhao Fu also slashed out with his two swords, causing the deathly fog around him to give off an ocean-like aura as it ferociously flooded forwards, seeming to want to destroy everything. Bang! The two terrifying powers clashed together, resulting in a shocking explosion. A terrifying, destructive power spread out, destroying everything in the surroundings. Everything within the 100,000-meter radius was reduced to dust. The ground continuously trembled and clouds swirled. The terrifying shock waves spread out, causing the spectators to feel as if they had fallen into icy water, and their bodies trembled. Zhao Fu blocked with his two swords and unleashed a defensive barrier, using all of his strength to defend against that terrifying, destructive power. In the end, Zhao Fu used all of his strength to defend against that terrifying power. A 100,000-meter wide crater appeared on the ground, and it gave off traces of black qi, making people feel quite terrified. The surroundings fell into a deathly silence. Shing! Suddenly, a sword hum sounded out, tearing through the sky as a white sword light rushed into the sky, illuminating the entire world. A massive storm of sword qi swept out like a superstorm, reducing everything in the surroundings to nothingness. The bloodied Yu Luohua once again raised her sword, a bone-chilling coldness in her eyes as she heavily slashed down. Boom! An enormous white sword light that was incredibly hot slashed towards Zhao Fu, looking as if it could split apart the heavens and earth. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he defended with all of his strength. But after being hit by that sword light, his body flew back 1,000 meters and crashed into a cliff. A bone-deep gash appeared on his chest, from which blood flowed out. Everyone else looked incredibly shocked. They had never thought that Yu Luohua would still be able to unleash such a terrifying attack at the end. Did that mean that Yu Luohua had won this battle? However, with Yu Luohua's current strength, it was possible for her to enter the top 6. For that person to lose to her was something to be proud of. Ark! A pained howl sounded out, shaking the heavens. Everyone felt quite startled as they looked towards the cliff. They saw that Zhao Fu looked incredibly pained as blood continuously flowed out of his left eye. A black-red sword pupil gave off faint light as it slowly split open, as if the gates of hell were slowly opening, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Shing! 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 Massive amounts of sword qi containing terrifying power madly flowed out of Zhao Fu's eye and continuously shot out. Each strand gave off berserk killing intent and destructive sword intent as they madly slashed towards everything in the surroundings. The cliff, ground, space, and boulders were all destroyed by the strands of sword qi. Countless strands of black-red sword qi flowed out, seeming to be able to destroy the heavens and earth as they spread out. Yu Luohua was greatly startled, but she could not defend at all. In that instant, her body was cut by the countless strands of sword qi, and she did not hesitate to leave the secret realm, or else she would die here. Chapter 1670. Tens of millions of strands of black-red sword qi instantly covered the surrounding 100,000 meters. Countless strands of sword qi shot out, slashing everything into nothingness. Spatial cracks filled the surroundings, and the berserk, murderous, icy, and destructive sword intent spread throughout the surrounding heavens and earth. Under this sword intent, the spectators felt a chill and could not help but tremble. It was the first time they had felt such a terrifying sword intent. Rumble, the weather changed as clouds swirled and the ground continuously trembled. Everyone in the secret realm could not help but look towards the direction of the battle, and their expressions became more serious. They understood that another terrifying battle had erupted. Only the top 10 geniuses could do such a thing, and 2 geniuses had already been defeated by him. Just who was that person? He had such terrifying power. The people on the viewing platforms were all dumbfounded. Everyone had thought that victory had been decided with Yu Luohua's terrifying sword strike, but they had never thought that Zhao Fu's would give off such a terrifying sword qi and defeat Yu Luohua in a single blow. Now, everyone felt even more curious about Zhao Fu's identity. Such a person was most likely someone whose name could shake the entire heaven domain. The sword qi gradually dissipated and space reformed. A 100,000-meter wide crater appeared in the ground, covered with countless sword gashes, looking incredibly savage. Zhao Fu held the wound on his chest as blood continuously flowed out of his left eye, and he staggered as he walked. The surrounding geniuses all felt incredibly nervous, and no one made a sound as they made way for Zhao Fu to leave. This was a sign of respect towards a peerless genius, and everyone understood that he would definitely become famous today. Zhao Fu went to a place where there was no one around and hurriedly sat down cross-legged and started to recover from his injuries. His injuries this time were quite severe. It was not just a wound on his chest, but his left eye had also been greatly damaged. This was especially so for his killing sword eye. Just then, Zhao Fu had used the killing sword's power, which was why he had that berserk and destructive power. Fortunately, Zhao Fu had already activated celestial mode, and his eyes had received a lot of enhancements. Otherwise, Zhao Fu's pupil might have been damaged, and he would not be able to use that pupil for a while. Time gradually passed, and Zhao Fu's injuries gradually recovered. After 3 days, Zhao Fu once again sensed that he was one step closer to the Outlander Imperial Star. The 34 totems behind him gave off various lights, and some of the Outlander fate started to flow into Zhao Fu's body. This meant that Zhao Fu had started to receive the acknowledgement of the Outlander fate. A trace of a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face. All of this had not been for nothing. He still needed to defeat more geniuses and gain the recognition of more Outlander races' fate. There was also the matter of points. Now that Zhao Fu had defeated Yuluo Hua, he had obtained 1/3 of her points, and he was now ranked 15th. Outside the secret realm, Yuluo Hua had just recovered from her injuries, and her expression was cold. She had truly lost this time, and she had been completely defeated. Facing that terrifying attack, she had not been able to retaliate at all, and she even felt a sense of terror. Just who was that young man, and why was he so powerful? Before, she had planned to challenge other geniuses and raise her ranking. Perhaps she would have a chance to pull out the King of Kingsword. However, Zhao Fu's appearance had completely disrupted her plans, and she had been defeated so quickly. At the same time, the elephant person was thinking the same thing. Now that he had recovered from his injuries, he looked quite surprised to see Yuluo Hua covered in blood. He thought to himself and asked, "Were you also defeated by that person?" Yuluo Hua's expression was quite unsightly, and she nodded. She did not say anything and started to recover from her injuries. She still had one more chance to enter, so she had to hurry up and recover. The elephant person felt quite startled. It was just as he had expected. That person was going to challenge the Outlander race's top 10 geniuses one by one. He wondered how far he would be able to go, but seeing that the others had been defeated, he felt a bit better, and he entered the secret realm again. Zhao Fu once again found a genius. He was tall and had explosive muscles, and his skin was the color of iron. He held an axe and gave off an incredibly powerful aura. He was the 8th-ranked Iron Mountain Orc, Gudu. Gudu seemed to be affected by some sort of power and sensed Zhao Fu's existence. He sat on a boulder on a mountain and waited for Zhao Fu to arrive. Zhao Fu was dressed in a black cloak and had a calm expression. He gave off a transcendent aura as he arrived and looked at Gudu. Gudu loudly laughed as he said, "Boy, you're not bad. You were actually able to defeat those two. However, you still dare to challenge me. You're quite bold. Do you know how powerful I am?" Zhao Fu calmly took out the sadistic killing sword and said, "You're third. Ha ha, boy, you're quite arrogant. I want to see just how strong you are." Gudu loudly laughed as he held his axe and walked toward Zhao Fu. Boom! A terrifying aura exploded out from Gudu's body, and a black aura flame erupted from his body, sending out wild gales that swept out in all directions. Gudu raised the axe in his hand and started to run. He quickly rushed in front of Zhao Fu and sent a powerful wave of power into the axe, causing it to give off countless rays of cold light. He vigorously swung the axe, giving off a ferocious aura as he hacked toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu leapt back and avoided this attack. The axe gave off a cold light as it slammed into the ground, causing the ground to explode and a shockwave spread out, creating a 10 or so meter wide crater. In the air, Zhao Fu also acted. He vigorously slashed out with the sadistic killing sword, causing a sharp blood-red arc of light to shoot out. Shing! The Iron Mountain Orc Gudu quickly withdrew his axe and blocked Zhao Fu's sword arc, causing a metallic collision sound to ring out. Gudu loudly laughed and gripped his axe with both hands as he vigorously slashed out, sending out a powerful axe light toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu sent a wave of power into the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off a large amount of sword light. At the same time, Zhao Fu's sword gave off ferocious sword energy as it slashed out. Bang! The black saber light and blood-red sword light clashed together, resulting in an enormous explosion. Cold light shot everywhere as a powerful shockwave spread out, forcing Zhao Fu and Gudu back. Gudu took 2 steps back, and Zhao Fu took 5 steps back. Gudu was a strength-based expert, and he was even more powerful than Yu Luohua, making him quite difficult to deal with. Chapter 1671. Thinking about that, everyone felt even more shocked because no one had ever dared to do such a thing before. Those were the Outlander Domain's 10 geniuses, the 10 people who stood at the peak of the Outlander race, and no one had dared to challenge them one by one. Now, this person wanted to challenge the 10 geniuses one by one. While everyone was shocked, they could not help but feel admiration for him for daring to do such a thing. They looked forward to the following battles because they had seen just how terrifying the previous 2 battles were. They naturally understood how intense this battle would be, and just thinking about it made their blood boil. The 2 empires who had wanted to kill Zhao Fu were not as angry and instead started to pay attention to Zhao Fu. Back at the battlefield, boom! The Iron Mountain orc Gudu gripped his axe and vigorously slashed out, sending out a massive axe light containing terrifying destructive power toward Zhao Fu. The air seemed to explode as a massive explosion sounded out. Shing! Zhao Fu sent a large amount of power into the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off a large amount of sword light. A terrifying sword aura spread out, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out a blood-red sword light giving off sharp power. Bang! The 2 sharp lights clashed together with terrifying power, resulting in a massive shockwave. Zhao Fu was forced back 10 or so meters while Gudu was only forced back a few steps. Ha ha! Boy, you're not a match for me. Your cultivation is too low. Don't blame me for bullying you. Gudu wildly laughed as he held his axe and rushed at Zhao Fu. Gudu quickly arrived in front of Zhao Fu and held his axe, which gave off a cold light as he slashed out horizontally, drawing out a powerful arc of light. Zhao Fu flipped forwards and avoided this attack. He then jumped behind Gudu and stabbed out with his sword towards Gudu's chest, giving off a large amount of blood-red light. Gudu spun and slashed out with his axe, sending out a powerful gale that forced Zhao Fu back a step, causing his attack to miss. Gudu loudly laughed and raised his axe, sending large amounts of power into it, causing it to give off a powerful light. Boom! Gudu vigorously slashed out, and a massive black ray of light blasted toward Zhao Fu. It contained immense destructive power, and even the ground cracked open. Zhao Fu raised the sadistic killing sword in front of him and unleashed a defensive barrier. Bang! That powerful beam of light rapidly struck Zhao Fu, shattering his defensive barrier. Zhao Fu was also sent flying, but most of the force was blocked by the barrier, so Zhao Fu wasn't injured. At that moment, Gudu caught up to Zhao Fu, and his axe gave off a cold light as it horizontally chopped toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu could only use his sword to block in front of him and use all his strength to defend. Bang! Zhao Fu was once again sent flying, but this time he flew in a different direction and heavily crashed into a large tree. The tree continuously trembled and leaves fell like rain, and a trace of blood leaked out of Zhao Fu's mouth. Gudu loudly laughed and appeared in front of Zhao Fu. He raised his axe with both hands, which gave off a large amount of cold light, and a powerful aura spread out. Boom! A massive axe light containing terrifying power once again slashed out toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu dodged to the side, and the axe light split the tree behind Zhao Fu in half. The cut was completely clean. Zhao Fu coldly looked at Gudu and felt furious. His body exploded out with a powerful aura as a black aura flame appeared around Zhao Fu's body. Gudu did not dare to show any weakness and also exploded out with a powerful aura. A black aura flame also appeared around his body, sending out shockwaves. Zhao Fu gave off a powerful aura as he rushed at Gudu and slashed out with his sword. Gudu also gave off a terrifying aura as he rushed at Zhao Fu, his axe giving off shocking power as it slashed toward Zhao Fu. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the sword and axe collided with terrifying power, causing a shockwave to blow out. Gudu gave a wild smile as he gripped his axe and pressed it toward Zhao Fu, causing Zhao Fu's sword to be gradually pressed down. Boom! Zhao Fu's expression became savage as he exploded out with an even more powerful aura. The aura flame around his body became even stronger as Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Gudu was forced back 5 or 6 steps. His expression became cold as he exploded out with an even more powerful aura, and the black aura flame around his body became even more intense. Gudu gave off this powerful aura as he rushed at Zhao Fu like a primordial beast. He leapt into the air and gripped his axe with both hands as he slashed down towards Zhao Fu with terrifying power. Zhao Fu did not move and sent powerful power into the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off a blinding sword light as a blood-red sword chi spread out. Boom! The axe descended with terrifying power, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out. The two of them collided and exploded out with a terrifying destructive power. The ground beneath Zhao Fu's feet cracked for 100 meters before the ground within 100 meters collapsed, forming a 100-meter wide crater. Facing this power, Zhao Fu's arms felt incredibly tired, and his legs became weak. He was unable to stand, and his feet sank into the ground. Roar! Gudu roared as an even more powerful aura exploded out. The black aura flame around his body became many times more powerful, and it almost covered Zhao Fu. Using this power, Gudu vigorously pressed down with his axe. Bang! The ground cracked, and Zhao Fu's legs sank into the ground. His expression was quite unsightly as he gripped his sword with great strength. The sword was continuously pressed down by the axe. Roar! At that moment, a dragon's roar sounded out as Zhao Fu once again ignited his divine bloodline. A transcendent power exploded out as 9 savage-looking black dragons, giving off terrifying dragon's might appeared. The aura flame around Zhao Fu's body became many times more powerful, blocking Gudu's ferocious aura flame and clashing with it, sending out wild gales. By now, Zhao Fu's power had increased by many times, and he vigorously slashed out, releasing a terrifying sword energy. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the powerful Gudu was sent flying dozens of meters by Zhao Fu and crashed to the ground. His expression became serious. He understood that if he did not use his full strength, he would most likely lose. However, facing such a powerful opponent, it was worth it for him to use his full strength. Roar! Gudu roared, and the black aura flame around his body became many times more powerful, covering the surrounding 10 or so meters. A terrifying power exploded out, causing the ground to continuously crack. Chapter 1672. Boom! Gudu gave off a ferocious blood-red aura as he rushed at Zhao Fu, giving off a massive sound and giving off shocking sounds like a massive beast. Boom! 9 savage black dragons swam around Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu gave off a terrifying dragon's might as he also rushed at Gudu. A massive sound rang out, and his aura was just as shocking as that of a ferocious dragon. Bang! 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 The two of them clashed together, and Gudu continuously hacked out with his axe, sending out powerful axe lights. Zhao Fu continuously slashed out with his sword, sending out blood-red sword lights that contained immense power, causing explosions to sound out. A powerful gale spread out, causing the ground to continuously crack. Rays of sharp light smashed into the ground. The scene was incredibly terrifying. Roar! Gudu roared and exploded out with a powerful aura. He gripped his axe with both hands and sent terrifying power into it, causing the axe to give off large amounts of light. He vigorously hacked out, sending out a massive axe light that contained destructive power, causing a few thin spatial cracks to fly out. Arg! Zhao Fu loudly roared and ignited all of his divine bloodline's power. A powerful shockwave spread out as massive power entered the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off boundless blood-red sword light. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out a brutal and twisted sword light. Bang! The two sharp lights clashed together, and a terrifying destructive power spread out. The ground continuously shook, and the two people were sent flying by the destructive power. They only stopped after flying 100 meters. There was a trace of blood at the corners of their lips as they coldly looked at each other. Boom! Gudu once again exploded out with a terrifying aura, and the massive blood-red aura flame around his body continuously wavered, turning into a large blood-red tiger that gave off shocking power. Roar! A dragon's roar sounded out as the 9 savage black dragons around Zhao Fu turned into aura flames and dissipated. Zhao Fu's massive black aura flame continuously changed and turned into an enormous savage black dragon. Gudu brought the blood-red tiger that gave off a terrifying aura and rushed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu also brought the black dragon that gave off a powerful aura and rushed towards Gudu. The two of them were incredibly fast, and in just an instant, they were less than 5 meters apart. Roar! The blood-red tiger behind Gudu gave a massive roar, and boundless blood-red light shined out, dyeing the surroundings blood-red. A powerful aura flowed out from the blood-red tiger's body, causing clouds to swirl. Roar! The black dragon behind Zhao Fu gave a domineering roar and gave off boundless black light, dyeing the surroundings black. An extremely terrifying power exploded out from the black dragon, causing everything to fall into terror. Bang! The two massive beasts gave off immense power as they clashed together, and it was as if two worlds had collided. A massive explosion sounded out as a terrifying shockwave blasted out, destroying countless trees and causing boulders to shatter. Zhao Fu and Gudu once again flew back and coughed up mouthfuls of blood. Sensing the shockwaves, everyone's expressions fell. How could there be such terrifying shockwaves again? Could it be that two peerless geniuses were fighting? Thinking about that, the nearby people became excited and once again gathered in that direction. They saw that the mysterious cloaked figure was still fighting against the 8th-ranked Iron Mountain Orc. Why was it this person again? He had already challenged 2 top geniuses, and after not seeing each other for 3 days, he had challenged another genius. This sort of person caused countless people to feel admiration and feel that they were inferior to him. At the same time, everyone became even more excited to see what kind of terrifying battle would erupt out between the mysterious cloaked figure and the 8th-ranked Gudu. They wanted to see just how terrifying these peerless geniuses were. Boom! Gudu slashed out with his axe, and a black axe light containing terrifying power slashed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu dodged to the side, and the axe light slammed into the ground, opening up a massive gash. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a blood-red sword light containing sharp power slashed towards Gudu incredibly quickly. It flashed by in an instant. Gudu vigorously punched out, sending out a terrifying fist energy that slammed into the blood-red sword light. The blood-red sword light shattered, turning into motes of light and dissipating. Zhao Fu's sword gave off a blood-red sword light as it stabbed towards Gudu incredibly quickly, leaving behind a sharp ray of light. Bang! Gudu sent powerful power into the axe, causing it to give off a black light. Gudu vigorously slammed upwards, sending out a massive wave of power and sending the sadistic killing sword flying out of Zhao Fu's hand. Gudu coldly smiled and quickly spun, giving off ferocious power as he kicked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu gripped his right hand into a fist and gathered a powerful wave of power as he vigorously punched out. Bang! An explosion sounded out as the leg and fist collided with great power, sending out a shockwave and forcing the two of them back a few steps. At that moment, Gudu once again heavily slashed out, sending out a powerful axe light toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu grabbed at the air, and the sword mark on the back of his hand flashed as a sword filled with deathly chi appeared in Zhao Fu's hand. Holding this sword, Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a gray sword light containing icy deathly chi slashed out. Bang! An explosion sounded out as the axe light and sword light collided, causing light to shoot everywhere and a powerful gale to spread out. Gudu roared and once again rushed at Zhao Fu, his axe giving off immense power as it slashed toward Zhao Fu's head. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out a cold sword light towards Gudu. Shing! The two weapons clashed with immense power, resulting in a metallic collision sound and sparks flying everywhere as the shockwave turned into wild gales. The two people's strength was about the same, and they slashed at each other with their weapons, but their attacks were blocked. At that moment, the cross-shaped pupil in Zhao Fu's right eye started to quickly spin, and an eerie, ghostly chi spread out. Roar! An evil ghost that was dozens of meters tall and covered with muscles and gave off a powerful aura appeared behind Zhao Fu. It vigorously punched out, sending Gudu flying back and crashing to the ground as he coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Facing this stalemate, Zhao Fu still used the 6 paths of reincarnation power. Ark! Gudu looked furious as he crawled up from the ground and roared towards the sky. The blood-red totem on his body gave off an intense blood-red light as an extremely terrifying power flowed out of his body. Chapter 1673. An even more berserk and ferocious aura flame erupted around Gudu's body, causing the ground to continuously collapse. It was unable to withstand his terrifying power. Gudu stood in the air above the crater and held his axe as he coldly looked at Zhao Fu. He gave off a powerful aura as he charged at Zhao Fu. Boom! The cross-shaped pupil in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun as he exploded out with his 6 paths of reincarnation power. Massive amounts of eerie, ghostly chi flooded out, covering the surrounding 1,000 meters. The temperature in the surroundings plummeted, causing people's hairs to stand on end. Facing the incoming Gudu, Zhao Fu raised his sword and pointed it at Gudu. The ghostly chi in the surroundings gave off an eerie and powerful aura as it surged towards Gudu. Shing! Gudu gripped his axe and vigorously swung out, sending out a massive axe energy that slashed out with terrifying power, slashing the incoming ghostly chi in half. Boom! Another massive wave of power entered the hatchet, causing it to give off boundless light and terrifying ripples. Gudu raised the hatchet and hacked toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu sent large amounts of 6 paths of reincarnation power into the Death Disaster Sword, causing it to give off boundless deathly chi. Zhao Fu tapped off the ground, causing the ground to crack as he rushed at Gudu, his sword giving off deathly power as it slashed towards Gudu. Bang! An explosion sounded out as the two terrifying powers clashed, sending out shockwaves that rippled out. Bang! 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 Gudu gave off a trace of madness as he continuously hacked out with his axe, sending out powerful axe lights toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out gray sword lights. The two powers continuously clashed, sending out shockwaves. The sounds were massive, causing clouds to swirl and countless trees to sway. The creatures in the surroundings all felt a wave of terror. Ark! Both of them looked quite berserk as they loudly roared and unleashed their greatest power. Their auras intensely clashed as their weapons simultaneously slashed out with terrifying power. Bang! Another terrifying force collided, and the two of them were sent flying back 100 meters, blood dripping from the corners of their mouths. Gudu's expression was savage as he gripped his hatchet with both hands. The blood-red totem on his body spread to the hatchet, causing the hatchet to become blood-red and give off a destructive aura that could shake people's hearts. Boom! Gudu once again swung his blood-red axe, and 10 or so blood-red axe lights containing immense power slashed toward Zhao Fu. They were incredibly fast and tore through the sky. Zhao Fu sent large amounts of power into the Death Disaster Sword, causing it to continuously give off deathly aura. It gave off a powerful sword energy as it slashed forwards, and a gray sword light shattered a few of the axe lights before vigorously slashing out, destroying another few axe lights. At this time, 8 or 9 blood-red axe lights, with a formidable power, simultaneously chopped toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was unable to attack, and could only use his sword to block in front of his body. Bang! Zhao Fu was blasted back and slid 10 or so meters, leaving behind 2 tracks on the ground. Gudu held his blood-red axe, and once again gave off a powerful aura as he rushed over. The cross-shaped pupil in Zhao Fu's right eye and the 6 gray dots quickly spun as a massive wave of power flooded out. Arc! Howls sounded out as ghouls appeared, giving off destructive power as they rushed at Gudu. They formed a gray tide of ghouls, giving off shocking sounds. Gudu's expression was savage as he continuously swung his blood-red axe. Countless blood-red axe lights, containing terrifying power, slashed out, splitting apart the ghosts' bodies. After being split apart, the ghosts turned into ghostly chi and dissipated. Shing! Suddenly, a sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu appeared behind Gudu. The sword in his hand gave off a large amount of cold light as Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, sending out a powerful gray sword light towards Gudu. Bang! Gudu was given a big fright, but it was too late to react. He was sent flying by Zhao Fu and smashed out a 10 or so meter wide crater on the ground, and a bloody gash appeared on his back. Arc! Gudu furiously roared as an even more terrifying power exploded out. The blood-red axe in his hand gave off boundless blood-red light as a 1,000-meter-long blood-red axe image giving off destructive power gradually appeared, causing cracks to appear in the surrounding space. A sense of despair spread through countless creatures. Zhao Fu's expression fell as he raised the Death Disaster Sword and sent all of his power into it. A beautiful woman wearing a palace dress appeared behind Zhao Fu, and a boundless deathly aura flowed out, causing the surroundings to become icy cold. A deathly aura spread out everywhere, and a deathly intent covered the surrounding tens of thousands of meters. Zhao Fu looked at Zhao Fu and said, "Zhao Fu." Boom! At that moment, Gudu vigorously swung the blood-red axe, and the 1,000-meter-long blood-red axe image gave off destructive power as it slashed out. An enormous blood-red axe light slashed towards Zhao Fu, causing everything in its path to shatter and causing massive cracks to appear in the space around it. Shing! At that moment, Zhao Fu also slashed out with all of his strength. His figure gave off an ocean-like deathly aura as it swept out, causing everything it passed to lose all signs of life. It was as if it could drag the world into death. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out, shaking the heavens and earth. The two extremely terrifying powers collided, and a terrifying shockwave instantly spread out. The mountains, trees, boulders, and grass in the surrounding 1,000,000 meters were all razed to the ground. The clouds in the sky turned into nothingness, and even the light dimmed. Everyone looked at the scene in shock. Just as they had expected, this battle was simply too terrifying and intense. Even though they were watching from the outside, sensing the auras, their bodies instinctively trembled. Both of them did not disappoint them. Both of them displayed incomparably valiant strength, causing them to be both excited and moved. At the same time, they were filled with admiration. At the same time, they rejoiced that they were nearby, which was why they could see such a terrifying battle. Otherwise, they would not have been able to see it with their own eyes, and they would not know who had won. Would it be that mysterious person or the 8th-ranked Gudu? Arc! A loud roar shook the heavens, causing countless people to feel quite startled. They continued to look at the battlefield. The battle was still not over. Gudu stood up, covered with blood, and a blood-red aura flame erupted around him. A heaven-toppling aura spread out from his body as he slowly raised his blood-red axe, and a blood-red light shot into the sky. Immediately, an unimaginably terrifying aura flooded out like a flood, causing the entire world to fall into terror. A 10,000-meter-tall orc image holding a massive blood-red axe appeared behind Gudu, giving off a power that even the heavens and earth could not withstand. The surrounding space continuously tore apart. Countless people looked incredibly shocked as they sensed that 10,000-meter-tall giant's power. They felt that it could casually destroy the heavens and earth. Was this still power that a human could have? Chapter 1674. The 10,000-meter-tall blood-red orc gave off a heaven-toppling aura as he coldly looked ahead, giving off an icy intent that seemed to be able to destroy everything in front of him. Ark! Another roar sounded out, piercing through the clouds. Zhao Fu's chest was covered with blood, and his body was covered with a terrifying ghostly flame. The cross-shaped pupil and 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun as blood continuously flowed out. A 100-meter-tall, ghostly flame burst forth from his body, and an incredibly terrifying aura spread out. An intense gray light covered the surroundings, and massive, eerie winds blew out. Countless trees swayed and boulders rolled as the heavens and earth dimmed. Boom! Zhao Fu squatted down and raised his hands, gathering a powerful aura in his hands, and he pressed them against the ground, causing the ground to crack. A massive explosion sounded out as a formless energy spread out from Zhao Fu in the surrounding 10,000 kilometers. It was as if the gates of hell had been opened as traces of ghostly qi continuously flowed out from the ground in the surrounding 100,000 kilometers and quickly gathered in the sky. Large amounts of ghostly qi condensed and covered the entire sky, causing the surrounding dimension to plummet in an eerie coldness. The 10,000-meter-tall, blood-red, orc image's expression was cold as it sent terrifying power into its blood-red axe. The blood-red axe gave off an intense blood-red light, and a terrifying destructive power spread out, causing the space around it to continuously collapse. Ark! Howl sounded out as the ghostly qi in the sky turned into malicious ghosts that covered the sky. It was like a sea of ghosts, giving off a terrifying aura. The blood-red orc image's cold gaze locked onto Zhao Fu as it raised its axe and vigorously swung down. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as space shattered as a massive blood-red crescent gave off destructive power as it slashed out incredibly quickly. It instantly tore through the sky, seeming to split the heavens and earth in half. The crescent gave off destructive power as it flew toward Zhao Fu. The ground, trees, boulders, and everything in front of Zhao Fu all collapsed and turned into dust. Ark! Zhao Fu roared as he once again pressed down with his hands, causing the ground to crack. The countless ghosts in the sky all looked at the blood-red orc image with their pale eyes. Boom! The malicious ghosts gave off powerful auras and cruel smiles as they rushed towards the blood-red beastmen. They were like rivers of water pouring down, bringing with them world-destroying auras. The world continuously shook under the huge power, and the sun and moon lost their radiance. Bang! The two extremely terrifying powers collided, resulting in a shocking explosion. Countless blinding lights instantly spread out, and everything in the surrounding 100,000 meters was reduced to nothingness. Dust filled the air, and the heavens and earth continuously trembled. The destructive aura continuously flowed out, and sensing that terrifying aura, the spectators felt a massive chill in their hearts. They looked incredibly shocked. This power was simply too terrifying. Countless people on the spectator stands were also staring at the battle with excitement, watching the battle between the two peerless geniuses. After everything calmed down, a crater that was over 100,000 meters wide and over 1,000 meters deep had appeared on the ground. The surroundings had been flattened, and there were broken rocks and wood everywhere. It was a complete mess. Everyone searched the huge pit, but they did not find any trace of the two people. Did the battle end in one go? Bang! A pile of rocks flew out as Gudu once again stood up, covered with blood. He held his blood-red axe and looked around savagely. Shing! A sword hum once again sounded out as a blood-red sword light slashed towards Gudu. Zhao Fu appeared behind Gudu, his chest a bloody mess, and he attacked Gudu with his heavily injured body. Gudu held his blood-red axe and vigorously swung it, slashing apart the blood-red sword light. Everyone was once again shocked. The battle was not over yet. However, both of them had used up too much of their strength, and they were both heavily injured, so their attacks were much weaker. Bang! Zhao Fu once again slashed out with all of his strength, and a powerful sword light sent Gudu flying back. Gudu coughed up a large mouthful of blood and crashed to the ground. In the end, he admitted defeat and left the secret realm. Zhao Fu turned into a ray of light and disappeared over the horizon. Only then did the crowd realize that it was him again. This was the third genius who had been defeated by his hands. Furthermore, he didn't use any tricks and relied on his strength to fight. Facing such terrifying strength, the crowd accepted it wholeheartedly and didn't have any objections. Now, countless people felt even more admiration toward Zhao Fu. Before, many people had cursed at Zhao Fu and wanted him to die, but now, their attitudes had completely changed. The power that Zhao Fu had displayed was simply too terrifying, and he had challenged all of the top geniuses one by one. Just thinking about it made their blood boil. Compared to him, being a perverted bandit was not much, and he was just a bit dissolute. In fact, many beautiful women were thinking about how they could take the initiative to serve him if they met him. Originally, the two empires looked quite pleased. If they could have such a peerless genius marry into their empire, the benefits to their empire would be unimaginable. Now, they were no longer thinking about how to kill Zhao Fu, but how to have Zhao Fu join them. After all, things had already turned out like this, and the two princesses seemed to like this boy. As such, they could only take a gentler approach. Moreover, they sent people to investigate Zhao Fu's identity to see where he came from and why he had such terrifying power. For such a terrifying genius, his background was most likely not small, and it would be easy to find him. However, everyone was disappointed. Even though they sent people to investigate, they found very little information. It was as if Zhao Fu had just appeared out of nowhere. This made Zhao Fu's identity even more mysterious, and everyone became even more curious about Zhao Fu's identity. Right now, they did not even know what race he was from. From the massive amount of ghostly chi that he had just exploded out, it was very likely that he was from the death race. Anyone who was not from the death race would not be able to do such a thing, but everyone could only guess. After all, Zhao Fu's aura was quite complicated, and no one could tell how strong it was. Now, more and more people started to investigate Zhao Fu's identity, and some higher beings started to feel interested in Zhao Fu. The shockwaves from the battle were sensed by most people in the secret realm, and their expressions became more serious. Even the Sun Elf, who had awakened the 10-colored light and was the most powerful expert in the Outlander domain, felt a trace of pressure, as if there was a ferocious beast chasing after him. Chapter 1675. Of course, for that person to give him a trace of pressure, it was enough for him to be proud of himself. The Sun Elf lightly laughed and looked at the 10-colored light in front of him. He did not pay too much attention to Zhao Fu. He had only defeated the third-to-last person, and there was still a long way to go before he could challenge him. Perhaps he would only be able to challenge one more person before he would not be able to continue. Perhaps he was thinking too much. As the second-ranked Medusa, she started to pay attention to that person. The ripples from that person's battle were incredibly terrifying, and it would not be too difficult for him to defeat the third-to-last person. However, Medusa only took notice of Zhao Fu and did not think too much about it. After all, he had only defeated the third-to-last person. Thinking about that, a trace of condescension appeared on Medusa's face. With her strength, she could easily defeat the third-to-last person. Even if Zhao Fu wanted to challenge her, he did not have the qualifications to do so. Medusa only cared about a single person, which was the Sun Elf. After all, only the Sun Elf was worthy of being her opponent, and she would not even look at anyone else. The Treasure Dwarf did not think too much about it. Even if he had people challenge the top 10 geniuses as the third-ranked person, he was still a long way to go. He believed that Zhao Fu had the strength to challenge him, and it was possible that he would be defeated by the geniuses behind him. This was not too likely. No one had ever dared to challenge someone from 10th place to 1st place. After all, it was as difficult as scaling the heavens, and if he could do it, it would be a miracle. Moreover, he had come prepared, and his goal was to defeat Medusa and the Sun Elf. He would be able to pull out the King of Kings' sword and become the ruler of the Outlander race. He was someone who had challenged the ruler of the Outlander race, so how could he lose to Zhao Fu? If he lost to Zhao Fu, all his hopes would be gone. The other geniuses became more serious when facing Zhao Fu. They were not as powerful as the top 3, and they were strong enough to deal with him together. The one who was the most serious was the 7th-ranked 3-headed ogre. Now that the 10th, 9th, and 8th-ranked geniuses had all been defeated by him, that person's next target was him. His strength was ranked 7th, so he was naturally the weakest out of the 7 people. Facing the mysterious and terrifying Zhao Fu, he felt immense pressure, and he was worried that he would lose to Zhao Fu, making him feel incredibly humiliated. Moreover, if he lost to Zhao Fu, his chances of pulling out the King of Kings' sword would become even smaller. After all, he would be weaker than others, and his fate would be suppressed, making it impossible for him to pull out the King of Kings' sword. Unless he was the ruler of destiny, the King of Kings' sword would belong to him, and he would not have to worry about anything else. The 3-headed ogre could only prepare and wait for that person to challenge him. He guessed that that person was most likely injured, and if he challenged him now, he would have a great advantage of being. He could even call a few people to attack Zhao Fu. However, the 3-headed ogre was not a small figure. He came from the most powerful ogre empire and was one of the Outlander domain's top 10 geniuses. Because of this, he had a certain amount of pride, and he would not do such a thing. Moreover, if he did such a thing, because of the spectator stands, everyone would know the next day that he had used such despicable methods, and it would bring shame to the entire family. He could sense a faint power telling him to stay where he was and fight with the mysterious person. This power came from the depths of the secret realm, and the 3-headed ogre understood that this power came from the King of Kings mountain at the center. As such, he took it quite seriously. He naturally did not know why the King of Kings mountain cared so much about this battle. In the past, only the top 10 geniuses had the qualifications to ascend the King of Kings mountain, and some special existences could also ascend. Of course, there would be battles between the two sides, but the King of Kings mountain did not care as much. The problem was not with him. It was most likely that the other person was very special, which was why the King of Kings mountain cared so much. At the same time, news of Zhao Fu challenging the 3 top geniuses spread throughout the secret realm, and there was also some information about Zhao Fu. Heavens, is that person really only at the Harmony realm? He defeated 3 Outlander geniuses in a row. Just who is that person? That's right. I'm also quite curious about who he is for him to have such terrifying strength. I was fortunate enough to see his battle once, and he didn't use any tricks at all. He directly fought with the top 10 geniuses, resulting in a terrifying battle. I also saw that battle, and my blood boiled. That was the most intense battle I've ever seen in my life. That person is most likely recovering from his injuries, and it's very likely that he will challenge the 7th-ranked 3-headed ogre. I wonder how powerful he is and how many geniuses he will be able to defeat. I feel that with his cultivation, he will at most be able to defeat the 7th-ranked 3-headed ogre. The 6th-ranked ogre has divine realm cultivation, and the difference in cultivation is simply too great. This time, no matter what he did, he won my respect and admiration. Countless people were discussing this matter, causing the secret realm to become incredibly lively. Zhao Fu's fame rose to the peak, and he was not any less famous than the Sun Elf. Long Yu. The person they're talking about seems to be our husband, the elf princess said to the dragon princess after coming to a gathering place and hearing the discussions around her. They had been separated from Zhao Fu for a while now. Ever since Zhao Fu had said that he was going to chase after the halfling, he had not come back. The women had waited here for a few days and decided to gather at the center of the secret realm, thinking that Zhao Fu would come here. Hearing this, the dragon princess smiled and said, "They should be talking about that bad fellow. I knew he wasn't simple, but I'm still quite shocked that he directly challenged the top 10 geniuses and defeated 3 of them. The things that Zhao Fu had done were simply too shocking, and they could not help but feel a trace of worship towards him. After all, they could not do such a thing, and it was enough for him to have such strength to be their man." The elf princess gave a beautiful smile and said, "That's right, our husband's performance has greatly surprised us. With his abilities, no matter where he is, he's always so dazzling and will definitely reign above everyone else. We didn't follow the wrong person." The other goddesses also gave happy smiles and felt a trace of pride. To be able to follow such a terrifying existence like Zhao Fu, they had gotten a great deal this time, and Zhao Fu had suffered quite a bit. Chapter 1676. They still did not know Zhao Fu's true identity, and after finding out, they would most likely be incredibly shocked. After all, Zhao Fu was someone who had shaken the entire heaven domain. Now, countless terrifying factions were searching for him. News of Zhao Fu challenging the 3 top geniuses had spread far and wide. Even the people in the outer regions heard about this, and everyone who had come into contact with Zhao Fu looked incredibly shocked. Goyin was the most shocked. Thinking about what he had experienced with Zhao Fu, even though he knew that Zhao Fu would be very powerful, he had never thought that he would be able to rival the Outlander race's top 10 geniuses. Those were people who stood at the peak of the world, and he had defeated 3 of them. Thinking about what he had experienced with such existences, Goyin felt that it was quite surreal. If it wasn't for Zhao Fu, he might not have been able to reach this place. At the same time, Goyin could not help but sigh. Now that Zhao Fu's power was so terrifying, people of his status could only look up to him. They could not be friends like before, and they could only reach this place. As for the others, they felt that with how terrifying Zhao Fu was, they had to take this opportunity to form a connection with Zhao Fu. That way, they could obtain unimaginable benefits in the future, and they might even be able to enter a realm that they could not reach. Gudu was covered with blood as he returned to the entrance of the secret realm, and he ran into Yu Luohua, who was about to go in. Seeing Gudu covered with blood and heavily injured, Yu Luohua looked quite confused. Gudu was the 8th-ranked genius, so who had injured him to such an extent and forced him out of the secret realm? Even though she felt quite shocked, Yu Luohua quickly thought of a possibility and asked seriously, "Were you also defeated by that bastard?" Gudu's expression was quite unsightly, and he nodded. "I lost to that boy." Yu Luohua felt a bit better and gave a trace of a smile as she said, "Was he very powerful? Did he use any terrifying attacks when fighting against you?" "I was forced back by that extremely terrifying sword chi. If I didn't come out, I might have died at his hands." Gudu's expression was somewhat serious as he said, "That boy is truly powerful. I used my full strength but was unable to defeat him. I don't feel any resentment, but I can faintly sense that he has not used his full strength and is hiding an even more terrifying power." Gudu then gave Yu Luohua a brief explanation of his battle with Zhao Fu. Yu Luohua's expression became somewhat serious as she said, "Now that you say it like that, I also feel that that bastard is not simple at all. He didn't use any ghostly power when fighting me, and he didn't use that extermination sword chi when fighting the elephant person." Gudu said, "Then how many geniuses do you think that kid can defeat?" "I've already been defeated by him, so there's nothing more to say. However, I also want to see the other geniuses defeated by that brat. That way, I'll feel better." Yu Luohua replied seriously, "I'm not sure. His cultivation is quite weak, but who knows what other terrifying power he's hiding. I think he'll at most be able to defeat the 4th-ranked geniuses. As for the top 3 geniuses, we'll all feel quite powerless. Even though he's strong, it's impossible for him to defeat them." Gudu thought about it and nodded. "I think so too. Also, I don't know who that boy is. His background is simply too mysterious. I've never heard of such a person in the Outlander domain. It's possible that he's from another domain. Uluo lightly nodded. I'll go in first. In actuality, I don't care too much about the rankings, but I need to get to the King of Kings Mountain and see if I can pull out the King of Kings sword. Guda nodded and sat down cross-legged to recover from his injuries, preparing to enter the secret realm as soon as possible. The King of Kings sword was everyone's goal, and anyone who could pull it out would become a legendary figure in the Outlander race. They would be the ruler of the Outlander race, the King of Kings. The teachers on the viewing platforms looked at Zhao Fu. They were the teachers on the tall building from before. The elegant-looking woman gave a trace of a smile as she said, "He's already displayed extraordinary power and identity. Do you think he's the person in the prophecy? Was he the one who caused a statue outside?" The gnome elder shook his head. "I don't think so. Every time he fights, he suffers many injuries and feels like he's a bit weak. Also, his cultivation is the same, and there's a big problem with his character. I don't have high hopes for him. Also, we haven't figured out why the 23 statues simultaneously gave off 10-colored light. Perhaps it's not what we think." The chubby bear person elder laughed as he said, "Even though he might not be the person in the prophecy, with his strength from fighting 3 top geniuses, his name will shake the Outlander domain, and he will become the person with the most potential in our college. Even though he's a bit lecherous, I'm quite interested in him." A serious-looking middle-aged man said, "I'm not interested in him. He can't be the person in the prophecy. Think about how supreme the King of Kings is, and his name shakes the world. Look at that boy. How could he be the person in the prophecy? With his strength, he won't be able to pull out the King of Kings sword, much less become the King of Kings. He's not worthy. Also, the 6th-ranked genius is a divine realm expert. With his harmony realm strength, can he defeat him? I'm guessing that the 7th-ranked genius is his limit, and he won't be able to break through." The Fox Race man laughed as he said, "There's still a long time before the competition, so we can all see if that boy can defeat the 7th-ranked genius, and how he will deal with the even more powerful 6th-ranked genius. I'm sure the results will be revealed soon. When the time comes, we'll talk about who's right and who's wrong." The serious-looking middle-aged man said, "Just look at him. I'm not very interested in him. I feel that the person in the prophecy is still hiding in the crowd. It's still early, and many people have not revealed themselves yet." Hearing this, everyone nodded. Over at Zhao Fu was in a place without anyone else to recover from his injuries. This time, his injuries were slightly lighter than before, and he recovered quite quickly. Zhao Fu only took a day or so to completely recover from his injuries. Now, Zhao Fu had obtained 1/3 of Gudu's points, causing Zhao Fu's ranking to rise to 10th place. At the same time, Zhao Fu felt that the opportunity for the Outlander Emperor Star to awaken had become much greater. Much of the Outlander race's fate fused into Zhao Fu's body and became a part of him. Once his fate reached a certain level, the Outlander Emperor Star would awaken. Chapter 1677. The 3-headed ogre had been waiting for Zhao Fu for a long time, and his gaze fell on Zhao Fu's body as he said, "You're the person who continuously challenged the 3 geniuses? You look a bit special, but as a prestigious imperial prince, I definitely won't lose to you. Also, what's your name? I don't want to fight with a nameless person." Zhao Fu's expression was calm as he stretched out a hand and grabbed at the air, causing the sadistic killing sword to appear in his hand as he replied, "You don't need to know. All you need to know is that you're the 4th person to lose to me." The 3-headed ogre coldly harumphed, "Boy, you're quite arrogant. I want to see just how powerful you are, and if you have the power to say such a thing." Boom! A powerful aura exploded out from the 3-headed ogre's hand, bringing with it wild gales. The 3-headed ogre's body gave off a green light and terrifying power. The 3-headed ogre held his spiked club and quickly rushed to Zhao Fu, giving off ferocious sounds. He quickly reached Zhao Fu and vigorously swung his club toward Zhao Fu. In that moment, Zhao Fu sent large amounts of power into the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off a terrifying blood-red light as he slashed out. Bang! The two weapons brought with them immense power as they collided together, resulting in a massive explosion and a wild gale that spread out. Ark! The three-headed ogre loudly roared as he gripped his mace with both hands and continuously swung it out. Powerful energy blasted out, giving off massive sounds and shocking sounds. Zhao Fu continuously swung his sword, sending out blood-red sword lights that contained sharp power towards the three-headed ogre. Bang! 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 The sword light that he slashed out was continuously shattered, and the sword and staff continuously clashed, resulting in shock waves. The ground started to crack, and Zhao Fu's body was slowly pushed back until he was 4 meters away. Boom! At that moment, the ogre sent even more power into his mace and once again vigorously swung it, sending out a terrifying mace image towards Zhao Fu, seeming as if it could shatter a boulder. Bang! A muffled sound rang out as Zhao Fu was forced back 10 or so meters before stopping. He felt a jolt of pain in his arm. As the 7th-ranked ogre, he was naturally much stronger than the 8th-ranked Gudu. With just his brute strength, he was able to suppress Zhao Fu. The three-headed ogre once again roared and gave off a ferocious aura as he charged at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression was cold as a black aura flame appeared around his body, and a terrifying power burst forth. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a massive blood-red crescent containing a ferocious aura slashed towards the three-headed ogre. Boom! The ogre vigorously swung out with great force, shattering the incoming blood-red crescent, causing it to turn into motes of light and dissipate. Swish! Zhao Fu leapt forwards and appeared above the three-headed ogre, and his sword gave off a blood-red sword light as it slashed down, giving off a powerful sword energy. The three-headed ogre gripped his mace and vigorously swung it towards Zhao Fu with great force. Bang! The two powerful forces once again clashed, resulting in a massive explosion. A wild gale spread out, causing the surrounding trees to continuously sway. The three-headed ogre roared as he continuously swung his mace, sending out terrifying energy that caused the air to explode. Zhao Fu continuously slashed out, sending out countless sword lights that gave off sharp auras as he attacked the three-headed ogre. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as the two powerful powers continuously clashed against each other. Powerful shock waves blasted out, causing gales to blow out. The ground continuously cracked, and rocks flew everywhere. The sounds were incredibly powerful. The people on the viewing platforms watched the battle seriously. Just as they had expected, Zhao Fu had once again challenged the 7th-ranked three-headed ogre. Now, there would be another intense battle. Now, this battle was ranked first on the rankings, and it greatly surpassed the Sun Elf battle. The Sun Elf was still a creature with very few points, and it was not a challenge at all. He would be instantly killed, while Zhao Fu was facing off against two geniuses. Evidently, everyone would choose the latter. No one could predict the outcome of this battle, and they could only watch to see what kind of terrifying power the two geniuses would unleash. Ark! The three-headed ogre roared as he raised his mace with both hands. The mace gave off an intense green aura flame and gave off a destructive aura as it ferociously slammed toward Zhao Fu. Shing! A clear sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu sent powerful power into the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off a blinding blood-red sword light. Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a terrifying sword light ferociously slashed towards the three-headed ogre. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the two people clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion. A powerful destructive power blasted out as both of them flew back 10 or so meters, and blood leaked out of their lips. The three-headed ogre looked furious and exploded out with an even more powerful aura. The green aura flame around him doubled in size, creating an even larger gale. With this power, the three-headed ogre rushed at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's gaze was cold, as he also exploded out with terrifying power. The black aura flame around him became even more intense, and with this power, Zhao Fu also rushed at the three-headed ogre. Bang! The two weapons once again clashed, and a green and blood-red shockwave blasted out, causing the ground to crack. The two of them faced off, with the three-headed ogre holding his mace and Zhao Fu holding the sadistic killing sword. The two weapons gave off immense power as they clashed. At that moment, the three-headed ogre's two heads opened their mouths, and countless rays of green light spread out as a terrifying aura spread out. Boom! Boom! Two rays of light that looked like green flames shot out with immense power, resulting in two massive explosions. They shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and hurriedly unleashed a defensive barrier. Bang! Because they were simply too close, before Zhao Fu's defensive barrier could even form, the two rays of light pierced through the barrier and hit Zhao Fu's body, causing Zhao Fu's body to fly back. Just as Zhao Fu crashed to the ground, two bloody holes appeared on his body. The three-headed ogre's three heads opened their mouths, and countless rays of green light shot out. Boom! 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 Three rays of light that looked like green flames shot out with terrifying power. They were incredibly fast and tore through the air. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he hurriedly dodged to the side. Bang! Chapter 1678. This time, Zhao Fu's reactions were quite fast, and he dodged the three beams of light. The three-headed ogre's expression was savage as its three mouths once again gave off intense light, and an even more dangerous aura spread out. Boom! 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 Three beams of green light containing terrifying power shot out, resulting in three massive explosions and giving off shocking auras as they shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu could only dodge to the side, once again avoiding the attack. The three-headed ogre felt quite annoyed and once again opened its mouths, causing countless rays of green light to spread out. Boom! 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 Fire-like beams of green light containing terrifying power continuously shot toward Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu could only continuously dodge. As the beams of light hit the ground, they blasted out large craters. Rocks flew everywhere. Soon, dozens of large craters appeared in the ground, and there were countless rocks and wooden shards everywhere. There was also a dust cloud, creating a terrifying scene. Bang! Another beam of green light shot over, and this time, Zhao Fu was unable to dodge. He was once again hit by the beam of light, and his body flew back and crashed to the ground. The three-headed ogre savagely grinned and opened its mouths. Green light once again spread out, and three beams of green light containing immense power shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu got up from the ground, a furious look on his face. Facing the three beams of green light, Zhao Fu sent massive amounts of power into the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off an intense sword light that covered the surrounding 1,000 meters. Boom! Zhao Fu slashed out, sending out a terrifying sword light that destroyed the three beams of green light, causing them to turn into green flames and spread out. At the same time, Zhao Fu looked at the three-headed ogre, and the cross-shaped pupil and 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun as a massive wave of ghostly chi containing a ferocious aura rushed towards the three-headed ogre. Arc! The massive wave of ghostly chi instantly turned into countless malicious ghosts that gave savage smiles as they flooded towards the three-headed ogre. The three-headed ogre coldly harumphed and swung the mace in his hand, sending out a shocking wave of power. Waves of terrifying energy rushed towards the malicious ghosts, and the countless malicious ghosts that rushed over were destroyed into ghostly chi and dissipated. Shing! A sword hum suddenly sounded out from behind the three-headed ogre as Zhao Fu held the sadistic killing sword, which gave off an intense blood-red light, and appeared behind the three-headed ogre. The three-headed ogre was given a big fright and hurriedly tried to attack, but it was already too late. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as the ogre was sent flying and crashed dozens of meters away. There was a gash on his back from which blood continuously flowed out. The three-headed ogre furiously crawled up from the ground and savagely roared, "Brat, you've angered me. I'll kill you now." Boom! A massive aura spread out as the green aura flame around the three-headed ogre's body spread out to cover the surrounding 100 meters. The ground started to crack, and a massive might covered the surroundings, causing the air to sink. Bang! The three-headed ogre held his club and gave off a terrifying aura flame as he rushed at Zhao Fu, giving off terrifying sounds. Everywhere the green aura flame passed, the ground would cave in, and trees and rocks would be destroyed. Boom! Zhao Fu's expression was serious as he exploded out with a terrifying black aura flame that covered the surrounding 100 meters. It gave off a terrifying might, and the ground continuously cracked as Zhao Fu rushed at the three-headed ogre. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as two 100-meter-wide aura flames, one green and one black, ferociously clashed together, creating an intense gale that spread out in all directions. The two waves of aura flames repelled each other, but the two people with the two waves of aura flames continued to charge at each other. The three-headed ogre roared and gripped his club, blocking the ferocious power as he smashed it toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu gripped the sadistic killing sword and vigorously slashed out, sending out an incredibly sharp sword light as he slashed towards the three-headed ogre. Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out in all directions as the two weapons collided, causing a terrifying explosion to spread out, causing the ground to crack and collapse. Countless rays of blinding light spread out. The two people were blasted back and crashed to the ground, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood as a crater that was hundreds of meters wide appeared between them. Zhao Fu got up from the ground and wiped away the blood at his lips before turning into a ray of light and rushing at the three-headed ogre. The three-headed ogre also got up from the ground, looking furious as he held his club and rushed at Zhao Fu. Clang! Zhao Fu slashed out, sending out an enormous blood-red sword light towards the three-headed ogre. The three-headed ogre dodged to the side, avoiding Zhao Fu's attack, and he swung his club with immense power. Zhao Fu retracted his sword and used it to block in front of him. The mace slammed against the sword with immense force, forcing Zhao Fu back a few steps. The three-headed ogre raised his club and gave off a shocking aura as he smashed it towards Zhao Fu's head, wanting to smash Zhao Fu's head to pieces. A wave of power entered the sadistic killing sword, causing it to give off boundless sword light, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out. Bang! The two weapons collided, resulting in an explosion, and the two people once again took a few steps back. The three-headed ogre's three mouths opened and countless rays of green light shot out. Three powerful rays of green light containing terrifying power shot towards Zhao Fu incredibly quickly and were about to hit Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu unleashed a defensive barrier, and the three rays of green light slammed into the barrier. The massive power shattered the barrier, and Zhao Fu's body was sent flying back. At the same time, the cross-shaped pupil in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun, and a massive wave of ghostly chi flowed out, forming an evil spirit that was dozens of meters tall and covered with powerful muscles. After this evil spirit appeared, it raised a fist and vigorously punched out, giving off terrifying power. The three-headed ogre was given a big fright and blocked with his club, but he was still sent flying by that massive power. Both of them once again got up from the ground. Boom! The three-headed ogre's expression was savage as he raised his club with both hands, and a terrifying wave of power entered it. The club gave off an intense light, and a terrifying aura spread out, causing the heavens and earth to change. Three massive mites spread out, causing all creatures in the surroundings to fall into terror. Three 1,000-meter-long wolves covered with green fur, blood-red eyes, and mouths full of fangs appeared, looking at Zhao Fu coldly and savagely. Roar! You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.